Trying, bro.
I see your
Trying.
request, man. I
Trying.
see you.
I, I see you're looking pretty good
Thank,
yourself.
thank you, big bro. Thank you, man. I mean, it's been major work. It's been a lot of things going on, but definitely for the better. You know, definitely for the better.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah,
Always
man.
good to see you, little bro.
Appreciate that, big bro. It's been a while, man. It's been a
I
while.
feel you. I feel you. And I do see we are up on Instagram and excuse me on Facebook and on YouTube as well.
Yeah.
So good to have those of y'all that are watching us on Facebook and YouTube as well.
Okay.
Let's go.
Música es para la salud mental. Definitivamente, Georgie, yo me desconecté hace como una semana. Me desconecté hace una semana porque estaba cogiendo un break sobre las redes sociales. Um, Muchas cosas que ha tenido que resolver y en verdad fueron un honor tenerte en el live. Yo voy a abrir el programa y si está dispuesto, vamos a hacerlo para hablar sobre eso, porque no todo se trata solamente de Pastor Carlos y yo, sino los demás, los oyentes que están con nosotros siempre, semanal, o lo que cruzan el contenido de nosotros, porque son temas muy fuertes que mucha gente no puede tocar, hay temas fuertes que mucha gente no se puede pensar y fuera un honor en verdad tenerte en el live, si es posible. Desde que yo abra el episodio hoy, vamos, vamos conectando, si es posible. Ok, yo lo voy a abrir así por lo menos tú puedes escuchar cuál es el tema y ahí empezamos a hablar sobre eso. Ok. Y bendiciones igualmente, y gracias por tu apoyo, gracias por todo lo que tú haces, porque en verdad somos gente que pasamos por batalla en el día a día y cada uno de nosotros tenemos una misión, tenemos un objetivo, por qué hacemos lo que hacemos, sea por la música, sea por la comunicación, como hacemos en las redes, todo lo que nosotros hacemos es para el bien del otro, no solamente para nosotros, sino para el bien del otro, para darle la luz y darle la posibilidad y la fe para seguir en el día a día, porque hay mucha gente que ya quiere rendirse y la razón por que nosotros hacemos lo que hacemos, vuelvo y repito, por música o contenido, lo que sea, contenido todo. Contenido viene siendo lo que estamos haciendo en el live, contenido viene siendo lo que se hace por la música, contenido viene siendo todo, pero es la intención del contenido que no tiene precio y mucha gente no aprecia en eso, mucha gente no aprecia en eso, pero nosotros corremos en la vía contraria, que viene siendo no lo que todo el mundo está haciendo, sino lo que es bien para todo el mundo.
Right.
And the Spanish is getting better and better.
Hey,
Okay.
go with it. Go with
Yeah.
it.
I mean, I'm shocked myself. I want to welcome everyone. I want to welcome everyone to episode 85 today. Um, Really, it's been, like I always say every episode, it's been quite a journey. It's been a lot. I'm sure all of us, we've had a lot going on. But what I do want to start off with is saying, keep going, don't give up. I'm going to start off by saying that, and I will end today's episode by saying that. Um, uh, Before we start today's episode, Big Bro, I want to go ahead and respond to everyone who's been reaching out and who's been taking the time, to check up on my status, because I know there's been a slight misunderstanding, but you can't blame those who have reached out, because I did put a post out just out of nowhere. Um, how I got in the cleanse. I started a cleanse, finished the cleanse, and then I was starting a digital detox. Um, and the reason why, you know, it was random is because I don't really put out my life in social media in general. What am I trying to say by this? I do discuss it through our lives, of course, every Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. Obviously, everything that we talk about, there's nothing that I can discuss without having the experience, right? So the reason why we have these discussions every Thursday is because of whatever it is that we go, whatever it is that we experience, right? Um, so for many, it was very random. So I started a cleanse. It was a 7-day cleanse. It wasn't the master cleanse. You know, there's two cleanses that I do. The one that I did recently was the second time. And I was basically on an all food diet. Um, I was on pills, right? It's from the vitamin shop, and I can give any information for anyone who's interested. But the whole point is that I was on an all food diet on a cleanse because I felt like it was something that I needed to break cycles, eating habits and stuff like that. Not that it was terrible, but if you want to break the slight habit, all you have to do is not procrastinate, is get it done. If there's something that you want to eliminate, if you see yourself stepping into a bad habit where you were going back to where you came from through those troubles, et cetera, you have to break the cycle and you have to do things different. So I got on the cleanse. I finished the cleanse. It was only 7 days. Amazing after the cleanse was over. But then I also realized, I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and look into a digital detox. Digital detox is limiting yourself or removing yourself from all the digital components, social media, internet, TV, phone. Um, you put the limits, right? There's no exact way to do it, but I decided to do it because I felt like it's exactly what I needed. You know, it's been a rough 2 years, I would say. I'm so used to saying a year and a half because the time goes by so fast that you feel like you're still in that same year, or you know what I'm saying? So it's been 2 years, and I've been on the internet, I've been on social media, posting up content nonstop, which not only helps me, but has been helping others. And it's not something that I want to stop doing, but because I've been so stuck to a computer and a phone, I had to break that cycle, even business wise. And there's been a lot of decisions that came along that I had to, it took time to finally accept. And there's been a lot of doors that I had to close. There's been a lot of heavy decisions that I had to make. And I didn't want to get anybody else involved. I really wanted to ask myself. And I was really praying on it heavy. And I received. Um, and it's not only depression, anxiety, and conditions overall that lead you to get to this point. It's just when you realize that things aren't going right, or you're just feeling overwhelmed. It doesn't even have to go right or wrong. If you're just feeling overwhelmed, give yourself that break to receive and get some clarity and understand what it is that you have to do next through prayer, through facing exactly what you're facing at the time, and notice what it is that you need to start change, what it is that you need to start transformation, what it is that you need to start manifesting, what needs to be manifested for the future of you, for the future of your children, of your family, whatever it is that you're going for, you need to give yourself a break. You need to break that cycle. So I finally decided to do that. And it's not like I said, I don't post my personal stuff on social media. All I do is post content, positive content. That way everybody can receive and everybody can keep their day going. But I finally put it out. And if I was really afraid of what others were going to think, I would have never posted anything. So this is why I posted cleanse. This is why I posted the digital detox. Um, and I always put a good song behind it. I always put good content behind it. And I just want everybody to understand that when something is needed, don't wait for the next day. Don't wait for the following week. If you feel like you need it now, do it now. Even if it's spontaneous, even if it's just random, do it because it can do you so good. You may remove so much weight off your shoulders. You have no idea. You may start realizing things that you would have never realized if you keep yourself occupied with the digital, with your daily responsibilities, with those bills, with afraid of letting go of that job, with afraid of letting go of that business. So many things because you're just afraid. Set fear aside and face it. Whether you're facing you, whether you're facing your problems, adversity, whatever it is, just face it so you can receive the answers you need, so you can receive the results that you need. It's not going to happen overnight all the time. And there's a lot of things that may happen overnight, but there's going to be things that are going to take time. So with that said, I want to appreciate everyone who reached out. I did respond to the DMs, of course, and it was just amazing how so many people reach out to make sure that you're okay, right? And not only that, it's crazy how the algorithm changes whenever you post something of what some people think negative of. So you can post an accomplishment, you can post the good things, you can post the help that you're giving others. But whenever you put something up where it makes others feel like you are going through it, it gets the most attention. It's something that I picked up in that process. Either way, appreciate everyone, appreciate the messages. And I did respond to that. And it's been great the past 2 weeks. And the experience that I have gone through in these 2 weeks is really going to help me help others. And it's like what we've mentioned briefly on multiple episodes. It's like, who are we without the trials and tribulations? Who are we without adversity? Which is crazy because we are at major risk. And when I say we, big bro, I say you and I, right? And of course, many others who can relate to our situation. The reason why I'm saying we at this moment is because we are the one holding this platform. We are the one discussing multiple topics. We are the ones setting fear aside and facing our troubles and others who are going through the struggle. People are afraid to have these type of discussions because it's not it for social media. What's it today is that Gucci belt that you're wearing, that Louis Vuitton. What's it is that vacation that you're taking, the freedom that you have. What's it is the car that you're driving, the house that you own. What's it is the material stuff and not really what you're going on, what you got going on a day-to-day basis. People are more comfortable with the accomplishments, but not the failures. We discuss both. We discuss more failure than accomplishments. We discuss depression, anxiety, more than happiness and joy. We've had people give their testimony, intense testimony, sensitive testimony, sensitive stories. They didn't have to do that. But why did they do it? Because we opened up doors. We made a way for the people who are struggling. We are giving comfort for the people who are struggling. We are doing so much for the people who are in that difficult season. And I hope I'm breaking it down in order. Because I'm working backwards over here. What's going on with this guy? He's so positive. He's always posting positive stuff. Why did that post come about? Where did it come about? What's the reason why? Is he going through it? Is he not? It doesn't really matter. What matters is, what are you doing with your life? What are you doing with your struggles? What are you doing with your adversity? Are you letting it take over you, or are you taking over it? And that's what really matters today. It doesn't matter the car that you drive. It doesn't matter the house that you own. It doesn't matter the square feet. It does not matter if you hold the pool or not. It does not matter your status, your title, your position. What matters is, how are you doing mentally and emotionally? Forget the image that you're portraying. How are you really doing in the real world? Because there's a lot of people living double lives. There's a lot of people here living double lives, triple lives,
Facts.
even more. And we're not here with this platform to put anybody on the spot. We're not here to call you out. We're just here to call you into healing, into bettering yourself, into realizing where you are today, into realizing where you can be, into realizing what you're capable of, into realizing what it is that you can do for others, not only yourself. Because the clock is ticking and time goes by, but it does not go back. Any of you logging in right now, I hope that you really log into this episode today, because it's going to be major what's going to happen today. And make sure that you don't miss not one single word that's being discussed today. Because enough is enough. Enough is enough. Enough is enough with what's been going on in my life, and enough is enough with what's been going on in yours as well. Enough is enough. No one is here telling you the truth. Not even professionals. They're leading a lot of people towards medication when those people are holding their own medication and they don't even know it.
Yeah.
They're holding their own medication and they don't even know it. And that is through accepting the truth. And that is through reflecting through where you've been, through where you're heading. What are the decisions that you've been making lately? You need someone to tell you the truth. You need someone to tell you where you are, where you've been, where you are. And of course, we have people who we don't know if they have good intentions for us or not. But you know what? Through experience, we learn this. We may be a fool at one point or at some point in our life, but we're not going to be a fool forever. We're not. Use those moments where you felt like you were a fool to consider yourself to be fully equipped with wisdom and learn from that lesson. Learn from the lessons that you receive from people, places, and things. Sometimes we don't want to accept that we're in the wrong place. Sometimes we don't want to accept that we're with the wrong people. We don't. Sometimes we don't want to accept that we're receiving the wrong information, that we're listening to the wrong songs, that we're into the wrong music. Sometimes we have to step out of our norm to heal, to change, to grow. And it's crazy when you give yourself a break from the people, places, and things, because you start to realize where you were, where you are, and where you're destined to be. It's been crazy. How many of us have struggled in the past? How many of us have been struggling now in the present? How many of us are struggling? How many of us have been up late because we can't figure things out? We can't figure ourselves out. We can't figure out our situation. We can't figure out why we're feeling this way. Why am I stepping into depression? Why are we doing certain things? How many of us are up late going through it? How many of us lose sleep because of what we're going through? Very few are going to admit it, but the majority are going to admit it behind closed doors. They're going to admit and accept on the low. And that's okay, whether you do it behind closed doors, whether you do it on the low, whether you're doing it without raising your hand in this chat or joining this chat. It's okay, because you're still receiving. But it's time to stop BSing. Face it. Go through it so you can grow through it. It's time to grow. Don't be stunned. time to go. Don't let it stop you. Do everything possible to keep going because you have so much ahead of you. Those of you that have kids, those of you that don't have kids, it does not matter. Eventually, you will have kids. And if you don't, eventually you have people looking up to you because you have a lot under your belt. You have so much experience under your belt. There's going to be people who are going to benefit from you because of where you are, because of how old you are, because of what you've been through. Don't be ashamed. Don't be embarrassed. Be grateful for where you are today. Be grateful for still being able to breathe, for being able to make a difference. Don't worry about what other people are saying or thinking. Put your feelings out there. Somebody's going to connect with you, whether it's to help you or they're probably being helped by you. Put your feelings out there. It's okay to be sensitive. It's okay to be open. You might meet your next soulmate, your soulmate, due to how you express yourself. You may meet the right person that's going to move you up in your career because of how you express yourself. You may open up doors to expand your project, your business, because of how you express yourself and what you've been expressing lately. Don't hold yourself back because of what's the norm nowadays. Who you were is not who you are today, and who you are today may not be who you will be tomorrow. So you have to be careful with how you manage your situations, with how you manage your thoughts, your decision making, the people that you accept in your life, the people that you accept taking your time. You are shaping your future based on what you decide today, based on the action that you take today. It's been major what's been happening in your life, whether it's good or bad, because there's lessons in both. It shows you what you're capable of. It shows you what you need to change. It shows you what you need to stay away from. It shows you what you need to keep close. Perspective, all the way. Mindset, all the way. There's going to be people here to better you. There's going to be people here who are going to try and destroy you. But never underestimate that self-destruction with all that you hold back. Sometimes people are afraid to let go of a status. Sometimes people are afraid to take a pay cut. Sometimes people are afraid to let go of things that are no good for them, whether it's a partner, whether it's a car, whether it's a home, all because of what someone else is going to think. It's time for you to do the best for you and those involved with you and your vision. Because sometimes we want to hold on to things for the wrong reasons. Sometimes we may be involved with the wrong people, places, and things for the wrong reasons. And we really got to look back in our life. We really got to look back where we were, where we are, and question ourselves. Look at yourself in the mirror. Like I've said briefly in multiple episodes. Look at yourself. Ask yourself. Pray always. That's a given. But really, ask yourself why. And if you break down what the why means, think about it. Who hurt you? If you want to ask yourself why. But also ask yourself who healed you? If you want to ask yourself why. Why can stand for so many things. Everybody's why is different, but you have to face it. You have to accept it. I'm going to say that again. Why? Who hurt you? What's hurting you? Who healed you? What's healing you? Ask yourself why, and you're going to receive the answer on both sides of the spectrum. We have to learn to understand our struggle. It is what it is. We have to learn to understand our struggle. There's a reason why we're struggling. Struggle's not going to happen for no apparent reason. Struggle is not going to come from the enemy for no apparent reason. Learn and understand your struggle. The most important thing here is that when you learn from your struggle and understand your struggle, you start to understand that it's more preparation than struggle. You're being molded and shaped into the version that's needed to get through that struggle. And once you get through that struggle, that breakthrough in short term, that breakthrough is when you learn how to continue to break barriers, to continue to bring others, to lead others where you came from. And best believe that learning how to break through various situations and conditions is pretty much universal, because you'll be able to help even someone whose situation you don't even understand, because we all have something similar in every situation, is that we're struggling and how we feel emotionally and mentally exhausted. It's easy for somebody to point fingers at you and say, you're depressed, you're going through anxiety, you're going through this, like they hold the title of a psychiatrist or an MD or a psychologist, because it's all they know. I know of someone that's been depressed, and you're showing those signs, but they're looking at your resume. They're not living those moments that you're living. They know where you were because of what you discussed, what you're going through, where I've been. You don't understand that struggle. You look at somebody's resume and you say, oh, look, this is where they've been. This is what they've done. But you're not experiencing what they felt in those locations, in those places, in those things. Don't judge a book by its cover. Don't judge a book by what you've understood from it. Get other point of views. Get other opinions. This way you can actually meet and understand the understanding, the comprehension of every single person that has walked down that path, that has read that book, that had that job title, that was able to obtain that job status, that dollar amount. Understand where they all come from, not just one person. Everybody takes things different. So understand every single person. Don't compare this person's success with the other person's. Oh, I know someone who was in your field, and you know what? You should have been as successful or more. No, everybody comes from a different place. And when I say everybody comes from a different place, that means physically, that means mentally, that means emotionally, that means spiritually. And financially, of course. And notice how I always leave the financials for last, because that's the least important. A lot of people are going to say, oh, no, it's the most important because it's how I pay my house. It's how I pay my rent. It's how I pay my car. Yeah, but if you're not doing right in the mind, if you're not doing right emotionally, how are you able to work those 40 hours, those 80 hours? How are you able to obtain those checks? Because you got to have a lot of patience for that. You got to have a lot of comprehension for that. Big bro, I'm going off today. Understand this and everything that's been mentioned from the beginning of this episode. But there's a lot of people who need it. There's a lot of people who need it. And they're just afraid. They're just afraid of what's going to come about. They're just afraid of what this person's going to say or what these people are going to think. They're afraid to downgrade. They're afraid to let go. They're afraid to change. A lot of people don't know how to heal. Because I'm not going to say people are afraid to heal. Some people just don't know how to. I'm tired. I've been tired. But I'm okay with adversity. I'm okay with everything that I've been through. I'm okay with putting my story out. Why? Because I'm thinking about the next person. I'm not only thinking about myself. I'm thinking about what I can do for others. What doors can I open for others? I don't have to be a millionaire. For some, I got to be a millionaire. For some, I got to be financially successful so they can look up to me. Nah. And they're wrong. They're wrong about that. Because you know what? Where I've been, maybe you haven't been, or maybe you have. But I've been comfortable with opening up and you haven't. So guess what? Not only am I going to take you to places, but I'm going to take people who are really looking up to this to places. Because I'm going to make sure that they avoid any hiccups, that they avoid any unnecessary obstacles all through experience. You over here trying to project a perfect life. You're over here trying to make things seem perfect, like no one's going through it, like you're not going through it. Little that you know that you're delaying someone else's blessing as well, along with yours. If you're in debt, go ahead and make that difficult decision. If you're unable to pay that house or that apartment, go ahead and feel comfortable with downgrading. If you're unable to own the car that you have, go ahead and feel comfortable with going with much smaller, something that you can handle. If you are with the wrong person, go ahead and have that difficult conversation so y'all can get somewhere. It's either going to fix or it's going to continue broken. And if it's going to continue to be broken, then at least you can give that person the space that they need to heal and yourself to grow individually and maybe come back together. If that job that you're in is a dead-end job, put yourself in a lane where you can continue to grow. That GPS that you're on right now is not going to take you anywhere. So switch over to something that's going to take you somewhere. Whatever that is. Sometimes we're attached to so many things that we're afraid to let go because of how long you've been attached to it. Because of it being you. You are the face of it. But you're not allowing yourself to grow as a person. There's a lot of things that we're successful in. A lot of things that we're successful in. And we don't want to let go of it because it's been extremely successful. And financially, I've been able to handle everything. But many people fail to realize that they're lacking in other areas in their life. And they're missing out in the most important times of their life. All because they're good financially. But how are you doing emotionally and mentally? How are you doing with the connections with your children? How are you doing with development in general? through you, through your partner, through your children, through your church, through your business, through your organization. You're lacking in many areas. And that's what you need to focus on. Because if you're doing great in one direction, why are you not facing the areas that you're lacking? I can't be successful financially and forget about my partner and children. Because if my financial status and my father duties, family duties, emotional duties, mental duties are not at level, then there's something that I'm doing wrong. Because money ain't everything in this life. And you don't want it to get to the point where you start regretting. And that's going to be much worse because it's going to be so much harder to recover from. And it's going to take much longer to recover from. Dang. Today is it. Today is it. Because enough is enough. I'm not trying to jinx things over here, Big Bro, but I'm not surprised if we get disconnected today. I'm surprised we're not disconnected already.
It wouldn't surprise me because it always comes up when people about to get free. Always does. Always does.
You have to go through adversity in order to upgrade, to be well prepared for what's ahead. Whether it's good or bad, you have to be ready for your future opportunities, for your future obstacles, because a lot of people always think about the good. You have to be ready for both, for the good and the bad. Whether you're asking for it or not, because there's a lot of times that we find ourselves in situations where we're telling ourselves, but I didn't ask for this, or why am I receiving this? I've been doing so good, except whether it's good or bad. Because there's a reason why you're receiving these seasons, these moments, these situations. And you may feel like you're the unlucky one, but you've been lucky enough to receive that difficult situation and get through it. There's a lot of people that don't even get through it. There's a lot of people that don't even get through a great season because from a great season, they jump into a difficult season. From a difficult season, they are destroyed. And what do I mean by destroyed? Everything that they gained from that good season, that great season that they consider was a great season, they lose it all. And there's a lot of people losing themselves through suicide, through substances, you name it. Sometimes we want to attach to things. Oh, but the reason why I'm this way is because, or the reason why I'm going through it is because, give me the reason why you haven't broken through. It's easy to dwell. It's easy to give in, but it's so much harder to decide to get through it. So much harder. And you know something? I hate to break it to you. Life will continue to happen, regardless of what you think or what you feel. Life is going to continue to happen, regardless of what you think or what you feel. Just know that everything that you're going through is setting you up because you have to be well equipped for what's coming.
That's right.
Look at it that way. It's the way to change your perspective on your life. When we lose loved ones, it teaches us what really matters in life. It teaches us what really matters in life. It teaches you that, man, if I knew, I would disregard their flaws. I would disregard their ways. You don't have to put up with a lot of things, but there's been a lot that you've been putting up with for the wrong reasons. So just know that there's a lot of things that we have to change. The way we think, the way we react to certain people, places, and things. Not only reacting towards others, but reacting towards the situations that present itself, or situations that you created for yourself. Because sometimes we can't just say problems come out of the blue. We have problems in life for various reasons. It's either because of us, or the people that we're involved with, or the decisions that we've made in general. Sometimes, or most of the time, is uncalled for, but because it's uncalled for, what are you going to do? Give in and dwell? You got to face it regardless. You're going to become weak? No, you got to maintain yourself. Stay strong. Stay positive. Not only show others what you're made of, but continue to prove to you what you're made of. This is how you're going to continue to save other people. The same way we're doing on our platform. The same way Pastor Carlos is doing on his church, Refiner's Church, and every single person that's involved in Refiner's Church. Leading groups. Jael, Jessica, Octavio, a lot of people out there who are doing major things. Asalia, Lily, everybody. They're paving the way. They're paving the way. The majority of us are looking up to the wrong people, to the wrong places and things. And this is like, what are we doing for ourselves? What are we doing for others? The whole board that you selected, big bro, I want to bring that up. I don't have names, but I'm aware of it because we've discussed this in the past. And it's been major the way it's happened. You never rush into it because your intention is different. Your intention is different. Your messages are different. There's nothing subliminal about it. There's no indirect. It's very direct. We do the right things for everybody, no matter who they are, no matter where they come from, no matter where they came from, no matter what it is that they're involved with. We're not afraid with connecting with every single person that we've come across. We're not afraid. God don't like others. Just know that with everything that's been said so far, you are in a constant state of preparation. No matter what it is that you're going through, whether you lose a job, whether you gain one, whether you lose yourself, whether you find this, you're in a constant state of preparation. And this is how we shift. This is how we help one another. But you have to receive. You have to understand. And to be willing to keep going no matter how hard it gets. And remind yourself you are in a constant state of preparation. Bro, so many lessons to be learned through adversity and struggles, bro. So many lessons that people are really not aware of. And it's because they're not willing to take the time to disconnect from that video game, to disconnect from Instagram, from X, formerly known as Twitter, from the new Threads, from Snapchat, from all the social media platforms. They're not willing to disconnect and really focus on what needs to get done internally and externally. Adversity and struggles, man. It teaches us who we were, who we are, what we are capable of, and what we are and who we are destined to be. Adversity and struggle. It also teaches us where we were, where we are today, and where we are destined to be. Adversity and struggle, man. It teaches us how we got through, how we are breaking through, and how we are able to break through moving forward, no matter what. It teaches us the why, as I broke it down earlier. It teaches us the why. It's major right here what's happening. It's major what we've discussed today for episode 85. It's major, big bro, everything that we've been discussing. It's major, all the services that you've been doing ever since you opened up your church. It's major, every change that every single person has been making in and out of the light. Everyone who's listening to us. It's major. It may not be major for today's society, but we got to glorify exactly all that you've been trying to do. You, big bro, everyone who's watching us, myself, Jael, everybody. It's been major what we've been doing. Why we go through adversity. Why we're currently going through it. How we got through it. But most importantly is what to do moving forward. Everything is a lesson. Everything is teaching us what to do moving forward. Because now we're built different because of how much we've gone through. We're built different. Why? Because you didn't let your adversity or your struggle lead you to suicide. You decided to stay alive. You decided to face your problems. You decided to change lives. Not only yours. Major. I'm here to tell you, continue to grow. Continue to strive. Continue to thrive. And break through every single cycle, every single season, every single situation, every single accomplishment, everything. Continue to do so because it's going to be something major waiting ahead, not only for you, but for those who are even depending on you, for those who are involved with you. Don't resign. Don't give up and keep going. Big bro, I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to you, bro.
No, man, you definitely win. It's major. And, everything that we do, man, we do it not to get no glory for ourselves. We do it for the Lord to get the glory, man. Every single part.
Amen.
Because
100.
It all belongs to him. It doesn't belong to us. It all belongs to him. And we understand our place and we understand the place of those people that we're trying to save. That's the whole reason why we're trying to bring them back to him. And I want to share with y'all, little bro's absolutely right. Being transparent, sharing the adversity, going through all the things. Number one, it's part of the human condition, especially when you're walking correctly with the Lord and you're trying to do the right thing. You're going to encounter these things, even if it's for a season, because especially when you're trying to take that walk to begin with, you're really trying to do the right thing. You're really trying to, make that difference. The enemy wants to do any and everything that he can to get you to stop doing what you're doing, to give up. So it's understandable that you go through it. And I know little bro mentioned not calling anybody out. Now, I will not call out anybody in specific, but I will call out a group of people because I believe that it's important to go ahead and share that. Unfortunately, the reason that a lot of y'all are in bondage, a lot of y'all are stuck in the same place, the reason that a lot of y'all are suffering, if I'm 100% honest, when we're talking about those that don't believe, you're going through it because you don't believe. Sorry, it's being honest. And this is not for you to like it. This is not about being apologetic. It's about giving you the truth, because it's the truth that sets you free. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. If you're not trying to follow Christ at all in your life, you're going to get what you're going to get. It is what it is. But on the flip side, there's also another group that I do want to single out. And that group is the majority of the church. I'm going to call it again like it is. This is not about likes. If I wanted to get likes, if I wanted to go ahead and fill my church right now, like in a heartbeat, if I wanted to do all these different things, believe me, I would be giving y'all a different message that is not the truth. But the truth is, you got a lot of churches, fugazi fake churches, acting like everything is perfect, acting like they're like your Christian lifestyle, like your Christian life, like your Christian walk is a certain way. And it is not. And as a result of that, you got a lot of people to perish because they're trying to follow an image that's not the true image. They're trying to follow you, and you don't even live that life. If you don't believe it, I can give you two examples to show you why you need to have a degree of transparency. Example number one, the Apostle Paul wrote the majority of the New Testament. The majority of the New Testament is written by him, talks about his experiences and a lot of different stuff like that. He himself talked about how when he wants to do the right thing, he's doing the wrong thing. And when he wants to do the wrong thing, it's like he's doing the right thing. It's like, you know, you're having this inner struggle with yourself because you are trying to do the right thing, but you're stuck trying to do you're stuck doing the wrong thing. It's like, I'm trying to do the right thing and I'm failing. And there's so many different instances in the New Testament where we can look, and it's like, that is called the struggle, because you're being tempted, or you're encountering the difficulties, you're encountering the adversity. Bro, the majority of the New Testament is talking about nothing but adversity. It's talking about nothing but struggle. It's talking about nothing but difficulty. But you got a whole gang of people. You got a whole gang of apostles, pastors. You got a whole gang of believers that is like, oh no, the lifestyle. Oh, look at this blessing. Oh, look at this. Oh, look at that. Look how perfect this is. Oh, look how easy this walk is. And it's like, bruh, shut your face. You lying. I'm not saying that you don't eventually encounter like this overwhelming blessing that you know, that you don't have like all these blessings and everything. I'm not saying that. But the thing is that so many people portray, even down to like, you know, your average Christians, they portray a lifestyle because the head of the churches is portraying a lifestyle of like, yo, look how perfect life is and all this other stuff. Look that I'm driving in, you know, look that I'm driving in this Benz. Look that I'm driving in this. Look that I'm able to afford these clothes. Look at my house. Look that my kids are perfect. And look at that. And look at this and all this other stuff. And it's like, bruh, because you lying about it, you got a whole gang of people that are following you, and they feel like my life doesn't live up to your standard. My life doesn't live up to your measure. And because of that, because it doesn't live up to that, I have to portray to everybody else that's around me, everybody else that I know that's a believer, that, or even if they're not a believer, that's even worse. First of all, I got to portray to my fellow believers that I'm also living that kind of lifestyle, that I'm living a Joel Osteen, my best life now, right now, in this very moment, right? And it's like, I show that to people around me. So it's like the domino effect. The person up top is making me think like their life is perfect, and or the worship leader, the worship artist is making me think that their life is perfect, and as a result, I fall in line thinking that my life needs to be perfect and everything. And because of that, the fellow believers around me, that they, you know, their lives are falling in that same domino effect. And then you got the people that are around me that I'm portraying like, yo, this life is perfect. They're like, man, yo, I really want to take that same Christian kind of walk because my life is difficult. And then when they encounter that walk, they realize that that Christian lifestyle is fake, and they never go back to a church because they get to realize one of two things either happens. Either I fall in line and also start to portray this fakeness, or I realize that I can't live that kind of lifestyle. Something must be wrong with me that I'm not being blessed like that. Something must be wrong with me that I'm encountering difficulty. Something must be wrong with me that I'm going through it. And that's because it's all fake. Bro, the very word itself, it says, very word right now says it. In fact, together with Christ, we are heirs to God's glory. But if we are to share in his glory, we must also share in his suffering. How much more plain do you need to hear it? It's not to say that you're going to suffer every single day and every single thing, like you're never going to get blessings. I'm not telling you that, but you are going to encounter adversity like you have never seen before in your life, because that comes with the territory. Very next few lines talks about, yet what we will suffer now is nothing compared to the glory that he will reveal to us later. It's not just talking about when you die. You're going to see some of that glory here while you're alive. But the thing is that you have to go through suffering. You will go through suffering. If you don't believe it, yo, go talk to somebody who's been hooked on alcohol or drugs for the longest, and all of a sudden, cold turkey, they got to hit that rehab. And we talking about there's no methadone, there's no nothing. You got to go at it cold turkey. When they were on the drugs and they were on the alcohol, they felt like, yo, this high can't get no better. But when they finally got weaned off of it or hit that whole thing cold turkey, they start going, the bottom line is they start hitting that so hard, those withdrawals so hard, those body aches so hard, that fever so hard. Yo, they start going through fever and body aches and all that stuff like COVID would never think that it, you know, you'd swear that like you dying of COVID or something like that. They would swear that it's death. And at that moment, they could make a decision to either go back to the habit that would take it away, that would take all that pain away in that moment, or they could choose to walk forward and say, no, I'm gonna continue to fight this. I'm gonna continue to fight this. And a lot of those alcoholics and drug addicts, those crack fiends that finally get off it, when they do, their life changes. And they come in with a clarity, but there came a season in which that withdrawal was no joke. You go take an animal that's been in captivity, been in a zoo for the longest, and one day they decide to set it free. Yo, when you are around other things, other animals that are all about that self-survival kind of lifestyle, which most animals are, that's their animal instinct. That beginning is not nice. You realize you don't fight, you're going to die. Some of y'all are finally getting free in the spirit, but you don't realize what it's like to finally be free in the spirit. It's spiritual war out here. It's not a game. And you don't want to fast and pray. You know why you don't want to fast and pray? Because your church or the church leaders, let's just be honest. If you in a church, how many times does your church talk to you about fasting and praying? And if you don't go to a church, let's be honest. A lot of y'all are electronic churchgoers right now in this season because you haven't stepped foot in a church yet. So you are an electronic churchgoer, okay? And I'm not knocking you because the Lord is using the platforms to be able to bring his children in, learn, and eventually these children that are on milk are going to realize, I need something that's more real. I need more substance. I need the meat now. I need to get into it. I need to see what's real. But let's talk right now to the electronic churchgoers who right now, the only things that they receive are the little electronic sermons that you get, you know, the little snippets that you get from a real quick Stephen Furtick thing, you know, a real quick T.D. Jakes thing, a real quick, you know, whoever the hot name is right now, right? Again, love what God is doing through those platforms because people are being saved. They're coming to know Christ, and it's the baby steps into it, right? But the majority of those churches, when have they ever talked to you about praying? When have they ever talked to you about fasting? There is importance. The word talks about this kind of demon. You don't get free from it without prayer and fasting. A lot of y'all are going through demons right now in this season of your life. Then you're like, nah, but I'm just nah. If I just do this, you know, I'm supposed to get free, and this demon's gonna go away. Really? Have you picked up the word to check that out for yourself? Because your little, you know, 5 minute, maybe not even 5 minutes, because if we're honest, most people can't watch the reel that's 5 minutes. They're good with the reel that's about 60 seconds to 90 seconds. Anything past that, that's too big of a commitment for your life. So what happens with the preachers and the churches is that they dumb down the preaching in the church for you, right? They dumb it all down for you. You get the little 60-second, 90-second snippet that in reality, all it is something in your life to go and give you motivation for the day, not give you truth. So you receive your motivation. You never receive anything about prayer and fasting. So right now you're going through spiritual warfare. That's a bunch of demons that are attached to your life, that are influencing your life, that are attacking your life. And you're like, why can't I get free? Well, because you don't know that some of these demons don't go away without prayer or fasting. So it doesn't matter how much you be like, yo, please, can you go away? Those demons are like, nah, you can't just ask nicely. I need a little bit more. And because they know that you're not going to do it, they'll continue to attack you. So congratulations, you played yourself. Surprise. But it comes usually from the Christians that are around who are telling you that, oh no, just continue on with this lifestyle and you're good. Or you know what, I'm just going to preach to you about this stuff that's non-confrontational and all that other stuff. I'm just going to make you feel good. That is not working for you, because the whole thing about them driving in the latest Alfa Romeo or whatever, sorry, they're going through struggles and they're not telling you. Meanwhile, when we talk about being real followers of Christ, Paul was a real follower of Christ. Peter was a real follower of Christ. Jesus was God in the flesh, and he was trying to be obedient to everything the Father did. Now tell me, if we're all trying to follow Christ, right? He's the one that suffered everything. Everything that you could think of him suffering, he suffered it all. And he suffered it unjustly, right? So he suffered all of that. Tell me, if we're really followers of Christ, then what you doing not trying to bring out all the suffering that you're going through? Why are you not trying to be transparent so that other people can see that it doesn't matter the circumstance, but no matter what, I will rejoice and I will be joyful. I will continue to show fruits of the Spirit no matter what the circumstance is, and I will go through it because I understand that my suffering is only temporary, and I'm going to show you the same thing that I show the enemy. No matter what you do, you're not going to steal my joy. I can portray that through you. Here's the suffering, but here's also how I'm going through it, and God is sustaining me. That's the truth, and that's going to help you get through it, because you're like, wow, how can that person rejoice through the difficulty? How can that person rejoice through the death that they're going through in their family? How can that person rejoice through the difficulty of the health? How can that person rejoice through the financial struggles that they're going through? How can that person rejoice through the fact that their child is going through it? How can that person rejoice through all these circumstances and still be, you know, uplifted? For the very reason that Christ went through it, and he rejoiced. He still performed the miracle. He still did the things. How? Let's talk about it. Let's be honest. How, right? Because when you see that truth, that is the truth that sets you free. Not this fake lifestyle, bro. Not at all. Because when people see that struggle and they see you rejoicing through it, they wonder what could bring you joy. Because when they're going through their difficulties, they wonder, can I get that same thing that's going to give me peace? And once they see that's the thing that's going to give me peace, right? I want some of that, because I'm not finding peace. I'm not finding peace in the money that I'm spending. I'm not finding peace in the hangouts. I'm not finding peace on the social medias for 5 hours. I'm not finding peace with the 6 hours I'm spending on TikTok. I'm not finding peace. I no longer find peace with the fake preachers. I don't find the peace in that. Can you show me how I can get some of the peace that you have? Because you're really going through it. I find my peace because I find the peace in Jesus. That's the peace. But people don't want that lifestyle. Instead, they're living this fake lifestyle, fugazi lifestyle. Let me show you what happens to those of y'all that want to live that fake lifestyle, right? It's going to be a great thing, because today we all about bringing forth freedom, right? Little bro said, how many of y'all want to go free? How many of y'all want to get free? You can get free. You can be free today. Check this out. Revelation 22. Revelation 22, 14 and 15. Blessed are those who wash their robes. They will be permitted to enter the gates of the city and eat the fruit from the tree of life. This is talking about spending this time now with Jesus. You are going to receive it. You're going to get that, right? This is beautiful. But check this out. If we're honest, because we all about honesty, right, little bro? We all about honesty on the platform.
Yes, sir.
Honesty and truth, that's what will set you free. That's what will will set you free. That's what will set the captives free. Is what will bring you peace. Outside of the city, so outside of heaven, essentially, are the dogs, the sorcerers, the sexually immoral. Some of y'all don't want to hear that. This is not, I'm not here to cater to you. You can take it or leave it, whatever you want. I'm here to bring you the truth, and the truth will set you free. The murderers, right? I want y'all to notice, sorcery, that's bad, okay? So when you go in for your little tarot readings, you know, calling up Miss Cleo and all that stuff, oh, I'm there wearing the evil eye on myself because that's going to protect me. Notice what the heck you're wearing. It says the evil eye. I don't understand why you're buying into the lie. Please, just drop it, right? The sorcerers, the sexually immoral, again, you might not want to hear it. I'm not here to play into you're being part of the alphabet community is wonderful. Add another letter to it and enjoy your life. I'm here to tell you the truth. I love you. I really do. But I won't co-sign your stuff. Sorry. The murderers, which we already know, everybody is like, murderers, bad. The idol worshipers, right? And those who love, all those who love to live a lie. Now, without making a pause, I'm going to read it one more time, little bro. Outside of that city are the dogs, the sorcerers, the sexually immoral, the murderers, the idol worshipers, and all who love to live a lie. If I'm some of y'all, I start that little social detox right now. Because there's a whole gang of y'all living a crazy lie online. Crazy lie online. And some of y'all are living that crazy lie because you're addicted to seeing the crazy lie that others are living. And let me tell you, that ain't it for you, boo-boo. You don't want to be living that. I know yesterday and today, this morning, we saw a little episode that had people living a lie. Some of y'all might be aware. There is some call her a social media influencer, some call her a rapper, whatever. Take whatever label you want. But yesterday, there was a rumor going around because of a social media post on this person's account that Lil Tay was dead. For those of y'all that don't know Lil Tay was years ago was a 9-year-old up until 14-year-old who was 9 years old talking about all the stacks of money that she had, famous for being, for having a stack of money and holding it like a phone and all that other stuff. Little girl, right? Used to be with rappers like, XX Tentacion and stuff like that, right? And people looked up to her. And yesterday they put up a post that she had passed away with her brother. And you had people that were like, oh my gosh, what? That was today taken down and responded to like, yo, I'm not dead. Somebody hacked my account. Well, you hadn't posted anything on social media for like 4 or 5 years. Again, I'm not saying that your account was hacked or not, but you have people that legit were like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened. How sad. All right, really, can we be honest? Now, I don't wish death upon anybody, okay? Especially when you haven't given your life to Christ. But she was talking about how people were puss, you know, with the P words, P words, N words, this F word, that F word. They're talking about all these different words, right? Her words, not mine. Talking about how if you ain't making paper like her, blah, 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 blah. She was 9 years old, bro. 9 years old. 9. Her words. I'm reading y'all some of her words, okay? I understand it's human life, but you are feeling sad about this person. Like the way in which it was meant, this person was mentioned was like, this was somebody you look up to. For real? I get the loss of human life, but it's like, oh man, nobody gave the truth like her. Nobody said that. What? Stop it. For real, for real. Let's stop living the lie, bro. Please. And people were on social media being depressed and down, making videos. Bro, you searched a person up on YouTube, there were a ton of videos of people, oh my gosh, I can't believe, oh, this is the news of the day, blah, blah, blah. Look, y'all are all making social media posts about lies. Living the lie yourself. You don't even realize it. The same way that there's a bunch of people putting on posts about all these things that they got, all these things they're flaunting, all these trips they're taking, all that, you know, all the things that they're doing. Bro, it's okay to admit that we're in a recession and that you don't got the money to go to Dave & Buster's. It's fine. Know what I'm saying? It's okay to admit that you got to be at home watching Netflix because you can't go to the movies because you ain't got money like that to go to the movies. Just saying. It's okay to admit that you're not eating in 4, 5, 6 different restaurants in the week. And that you got to go to the supermarket because the supermarket expenses are costing you just as much as it took you, you know, as much as it cost you before to go eat at the Olive Garden. You're like, man, I didn't realize for me to feed my family of 4, it was going to cost me Olive Garden money. But the Olive Garden is now costing you double. It's okay to admit you can't do that. But bro, when you're taking pictures or you're putting up pictures of the plate you had months ago as if it was today, the trip you took 3 years ago like if it was now. Bro, I've even seen people take pictures that somebody else's and portray it as if it was theirs. Bruh, seriously. The word is telling you, and it's not me, it's the word telling you, all who love to live a lie. Stop living the lie. Your child ain't the most well-behaved. And you got to work on your parenting skills. How does it help you to portray it like your child is the most well-behaved child of all time? If you're saying that they're like acting like they smart, like they're an honor roll student, if the only honor roll that they're honoring is the bread roll that they're giving you with your barbecue or your biscuit at Red Lobster, which you probably didn't have the money to go eat that right now anyway, bro, stop living that lie. It's okay. Not everybody's kid is smart in the ways that people think. There's plenty of kids who are smart academically. There's other kids who are smart or have just an absolute amazing knowledge for music or for computers or for art or just street smart or know how to talk to people. Bro, you can tell me if I'm wrong or right. There's plenty of people that we've have been successful in industries, major industries, not because they're smart, but because God has given them the gift of gab. they're able to talk to people. And as a result of being able to talk to people, you don't have the skills, but there's just something that you got. And so we're going to give you a chance. And there's something about them that's infectious. There's nothing wrong with that. But you try to take that person that's gifted in that and put them supposedly that this is what they should be good at, this is what they're good at. Bro, that's not going to go well for you. I see people that go ghost because they're afraid. Yo, things are so bad right now that if people are around me, the same people that I was fronting to, if people are around me right now, they're going to be able to see I can't live that lifestyle right now. So as a result, I prefer to isolate myself. That's exactly what the enemy wants. He got you. He got you. He got you. And you're there. Not only are you living the lifestyle, the fake lifestyle, and taking all this heaviness and weight on top of yourself that Jesus says, give me that weight and just trust in me. Jesus says, just have faith. Jesus says, just trust me. Just do what I'm telling you to do. Just obey my commandments. Just ask me for direction. Just seek and you will find. Just do all these things. Instead, you live in the lifestyle. You're taking on the burden that's not yours. You're suffering in a different kind of way, right? And worst of all, not only are you suffering it, but Jesus himself said, there's going to be those that are going to be inside my gates, and there's those who are going to be outside my gates. You murderers, you're outside my gates. You sorcerers, witchcraft people and all that stuff, which some of y'all manipulate people, that's a form of witchcraft. Congratulations, you're right out there with those sorcerers, because what are those sorcerers doing? They're putting, trying to manipulate people. That's all they're doing. It's all manipulation. It's all witchcraft. You're out there with them folks. But even those who live a lie, the enemy got you living a lie, and you don't realize you're suffering in this life with all that weight in your shoulders, but you don't realize that that's suffering. Unlike those who are suffering for Christ, who will get to see his glory, and not only that, after this life, will get to see the glory, you are suffering here in this life unnecessarily, right? Taking that stress on, and then you don't even have eternal life, because when it comes down to it, you're going to be outside the city. How's that working for you? And you're outside that city, and I'm going to pass this right back to you after this one, little bro. You're going to be outside that city living this life for what? For something that you cannot take with you. When you die, you don't take your house. When you die, you don't take your money. When you die, you don't take the Bugatti. When you die, you don't take the jewelry. When you die, you don't take your clothes. When you die, you don't take your family. When you die, you don't take your friends. And much less when you die, do you take your social media followers. You don't. Sorry, you don't. How many of the fake friends and followers that you have following you are you going to take with you? None. None. And you want to know how I know that? Because on Facebook, they got a beautiful feature, and I honestly admit that it is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful feature. I'm not being sarcastic. It is a beautiful feature that when you die, you can have your family and friends mark that you died, so that your page can be left in memory of. I've seen plenty of people that have gotten in-memory pages, that they've switched their pages. The family and friends have switched their pages to an in memoriam page, right? Bro, nobody follows them anymore. Nobody's seeing their posts. Nobody cares. In the beginning, when the person died, too bad, so sad. Yes, I'm heartbroken over it. But guess what? A year later, only their very close friends and relatives are the ones still visiting the page. The hundreds of people that they had as fake friends and followers, not one of them are following them. Not one of them cares about the post. Not one of them remembers them. Not one. So they did not take any of them to the grave. So when you're doing all this show, all this fakeness to live a lie, you don't even get to take those people with you. So at the end of the day, what are you doing it for?
It's funny as you mentioned that, and I'm sorry, big bro. As you mentioned that, the first person that came to mind, DMX. DMX, because we all know everything that, or most of us may know. Let me go ahead and rephrase that. What DMX was going through for a while. Um, Very few ended up knowing about the struggle that he was going through towards the end of his career or his life in general. And Big Bro, I don't know if I mentioned to you before, but you remember how I told you I had a close connection with DMX, right?
Right, right. I remember.
Man, I've kept that DM because it's something that I want to take with me. But if I would have been so concerned or worried about, let me prove to people that it's true, the communication that I had with DMX, and look what he said to me and what I said to him, and I would have posted it up like, oh man, rest in peace, and screenshots of the conversations. But I'm I'm not about showing that conversation to people. I'm about taking that to the grave with me, to take it with
Yep.
me, because I was super grateful to be so close to make something happen with him, major at the time. And then, of course, he passed away due to overdose, you know, an unfortunate situation. Like, even the problems that the family were left with, nobody knows of, only people who were close to him. But it's crazy how, even if people knew, they would think, like, but how is that even possible? It's DMX. You don't know that person's struggle. And I mentioned this, Big Bro, I mentioned this 30 minutes ago when I said, of someone's resume, you don't know what that person is going through in that specific season.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And it was major what was going to happen. And it would have been major. But you know what? I'm more happy about that connection. And I'm not upset about, oh, what could have been. No. It's just, it just shows me that the path that I'm in, the path that the people that I'm with are in, it's just the right path, man. And just being you. It's just being you. Being able to have the right intentions for people, present the right opportunities for people. Franklin, what's up, bro? God bless, man. I see your
God bless,
message, man.
bro.
God bless, bro. God bless. Love you, bro. It's major. DMX is a perfect example, man, because he had everything, but he was going through it heavy, heavy. But his heart was always the same throughout the struggle. Was always the same. And I like the fact that you brought up, man, how people are out there just BSing, man. They're not realizing what they're doing, and time is flying by. Time is going by, and the same way their time is going by is like their time with their family, their time with their children is going by as well. Sometimes you gotta let those women go. Sometimes you gotta let those men or man go, so you can focus on what it is that you need to grow as a person, he or she.
Yep.
I'm speaking to both. You may even have to let go of a business because it's not really doing you good. It's not doing you any
It's
good.
true.
You may
It's
have the
true.
right reasons to run it. You may have the right reasons why to run it because you're gonna build so many connections, but those connections may not even happen, or it may not be the right connections. And you also have to understand that you're putting yourself in the wrong places and connecting yourself with the wrong people by staying connected to that business. It's gonna put you in the wrong places, full of temptation, full of wrongdoings,
Facts.
full of wrong reasoning. And like I said, give yourself that break because you have no idea what you're gonna unlock when you give yourself a break from whatever it is. We're not on here being specific. We're just talking about what we know, what we're currently doing, because I could talk to you about anything. But like I said, we're not selling you a course. We're not BSing you around. We're not trying to to convert you or trick your mind and make you think a certain way. No, we're not making you do anything. We're talking to you, and you're gonna do what you feel is best for you and your family. You're gonna do what's best for you and your situation, you and your season. That's what you're gonna do. We're not here to convince you. No, we're here to open up with no shame. Like I said, if you go back to my most recent post, I'm going through a digital detox. I'm sorry, second to most recent post, right? I, I went through a cleanse, going through a digital detox, and then I said a few things after that. And the most recent post was, "This is not a goodbye; it's a see you soon." Because I am going to continue to develop. I'm going to continue to pour into me, so I can continue to pour into you. Because who am I if I'm not going through? Who am I if I don't decide to face it? Who am I if I'm not overcoming obstacles? Who am I if I'm not breaking through?
Yep.
And if I'm not putting myself out in the good and the bad, then I'm just lying to you straight up. I'm just lying to you straight up. You know why? Because I've been successful in so many things, but I've been lacking in so many others. And that's the reason for my doing. If you
It's transparency.
if you're curious. So now it's time to do things different. I'm going to continue to do what I've been doing for everyone and for myself, but I also have to make sure that I leave no one behind, and I leave nothing behind. That, that's the reason for my digital detox. That's the reason for my cleanse. For the very few who know me on social media, um, Big Bro, you know that I usually do a intense cleanse every few years. I would say 3 to 4 years. I do the master cleanse. A lot of people know it as a lemonade diet, where you don't eat absolutely nothing for 2 weeks. Absolutely nothing. There's a specific beverage that you have to consume to get through this cleanse. This time I did it different. It was a cleanse that this is the second time that I do it. Because again, I'm here to put people on to the most intense one, to the most simple one. But who am I to be your advisor, to be your counselor, to be of guidance if I have not gone through that situation?
Yep.
If I'm just doing it for the money, or if I'm just doing it for the fame, or if I'm just doing it for the attention, or if I'm just doing it for whatever you want to call it, I do things, and when I do it, it's because I've been there. If I'm talking to you about a specific situation, it's because I've been there. I'm not gonna talk about something that I don't know about. I'm gonna talk to everyone. I'm gonna talk to every single person, everybody that comes across me, everybody that reaches out to me, everybody that asks me, or anybody that's trying to look out for me. I'm gonna talk to, because it's something that I can pick up from you, but it's also that you can pick up from me. And if it's something that I don't understand and that I can't get you through, I gotta be honest. Man, I'm the wrong person to talk to, but I got the right person for you to talk to. I got the right resources. I can lead you to the right. I'm your first aid kit, because I may not have your solution, but I know someone who has your solution.
Yep.
Aside from God, because I'm gonna give you praise. I'm gonna tell you pray, but I also have the people, His disciples. I got the people who's serving Him heavy. I'm walking in faith, but am I fully there? I'm not. I'm being transparent. But I know the people who are already there, and I'm going to lead you to them. Refiners Church. Pastor Carlos, Jael, who's not only part of that ministry, but she got her homeschooling, which is crazy, because not only is she teaching your kids, but she's leading your kids, which is different. It's different.
Yeah. Big shout out to Penn Academy for real.
Big shout out. Yeah, man. Big shout outs. It's like it's crazy. These people are close. They're here. They're with us. doing the right thing, you're looking up to the wrong people. That's what you're doing.
And that's to say, little bro,
Go
you
ahead, bro.
know, even still, um, it's not to say like, oh, you know, big up, look how great. Like I can tell you, that's one of the things, man, that I will give thanks to God for how He's been building that ministry, like you said earlier. You know, even down to the board, waiting for God to direct us on each and every person, being able to see,
I
you know.
remember all those details, bro. Crazy.
And it's like, man, I would like to just get started, but it's like, no, God's being real transparent about you gotta wait, you gotta wait, you gotta wait, you gotta wait, you gotta wait. And it's like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna be, you know, I'm gonna continue to wait. And we gotten to see why God had us wait. But even in the midst of all of that, you know, even in the midst of all of that, bro, we're not perfect. And we share, this is a struggle. And we share the times where it's like, man, I'm trying to keep my faith up, but, you know, it could be a moment where you're just like, what the heck is going on? Like, I don't even know. Like, what's going on? What do I do? You know, because it's the transparency of it. And that's where it's beautiful that the brothers and sisters around you help to pick you up. And nobody thinks of themselves higher, from the pastor down to the child. Nobody thinks of themselves higher than anybody else, because we all understand what we're going through. And that's a beautiful thing when that happens, because that's like, you know, you have to think Christ came and humbled himself. We got to humble ourselves. There's nothing big about us other than the fact that we're trying to do things the right way. That's it. But that shouldn't even be something major. That should be like, okay, you're trying to be like everybody else to do the right thing. Unfortunately, that's not the case. You know what I'm saying? But again, speaking of transparency, man, today you went hard, and I know why, because when you do these detoxes, when you do these cleanse, when you essentially, it's a degree of fasting. You know what I'm saying? It's a degree of fasting. When you're doing that with your prayer, that's fasting and prayer. God gives you certain kinds of revelation that you would, you know, that you normally wouldn't get before. And I'm seeing right now, it's a season in which people are really seeking Him. And those who are seeking, the word says, seek, you knock, I'm going to open the door, you will find. You know what I'm saying? So it's important. But one of these things that y'all have to understand is when you detox, you're removing idols from your life. Because the thing is that a lot of us don't recognize, we don't think that there's idols in our lives. We're like, nah, I don't lift anybody on high. I don't have anybody replacing God. I don't even do that. Some of y'all don't even know about idolatry and know that, like, yo, that's major. God talks about, like, yo, this is this is a commandment. Don't lift up idols. And some of y'all are like, no, but I don't got no statue of nothing in my house. Time out. An idol is anything that replaces God, something that you hold higher than God, something where you spend more time with it than God, right? Go through a detox, and I guarantee you that will show you what you lift up higher than God. Because the moment that you take away anything that you are essentially addicted to, that's taking your time, right? You start to realize, do I need this in my life or I don't? Again, the drug addict will tell you, I need the drugs. When they finally have been freed from it, they'll tell you, I never needed the drugs. I was hampered by the drugs. I was, in fact, under the influence. Pay attention to that. Under the influence. I was under the influence of what I was consuming. Alcohol, all the same thing. When you finally decide, yo, I'm not going to have it no more, you start to realize, yo, I don't really need it. I don't really need that. Mind you, I've never been somebody that's an alcoholic. I enjoy my glass of wine. I enjoy this. But, bro, I could be transparent with you. I've gone the longest without a drink of anything. Not because it is something that, like, oh no, I have, you know, it has me and I have to have 2 or 3 drinks, or when I need to watch out because if I have 1, I'm gonna have 5. No, it's never been like that. I could be like, yo, let's hang out here at the house. play a game, watch a movie, watch a game, whatever, and be like, yo, you want a Jack and Coke real quick? You want a Corona real quick? And it would be like, you want a glass of wine? And it could be like just one. And it would be me and whoever else is hanging out, and we can have just one. And nobody's tipsy, nobody's under the influence, nothing. But it comes a point where it's like, nah, don't really need that. I really don't. So it's been the longest that I haven't touched it. Not because it had a hold on me, but because it was like, no, I really don't. And if one day I just want to have a glass of wine, it's fine. But it's something that it's like, it doesn't have a grasp on me, right? Many of y'all go through things like that where it's like, the thing doesn't have a grasp on you. But now, when you take away, let's say, the phone, you might get that itch that you need to watch the screen. This week.
That's a whole
Go ahead,
level of withdrawals right there.
A whole nother level of withdrawals. Because some of y'all
like your
just
thumb
get used
don't even
to
know what to do anymore.
And don't get me wrong, like, again, transparency. My screen time is ridiculous. I spend a lot of screen time because of work. I spend a lot of screen time, hearing a preach. I hear a lot of, I spend a lot of screen time doing a lot of different things that's, ministry related or work related. But I also spend probably a whole lot more screen time than I should on stupidness. We all do right now. It is what it is. But until you go through a detox like little bro goes through, is when you're like, yeah, I really don't need to spend that much time. You know what I'm saying?
And let me be honest, bro, if I may. It's quite difficult whenever you are handling things electronically, because there's a lot of things that we have to handle electronically, right? Back in the days, it was just different. You go to a bank, you make a line, you meet with the teller, and
Right.
you handle your situation, right? There's a lot of other stuff, like if you are changing, online management, just in general, you had to do it physically. So today, that's why I say it's more like limiting yourself, right?
Mhm.
Because sometimes you can't disconnect. Now, the funny thing is that I limited myself to then finally disconnect, so I can say, you know what, I don't have to handle anything. If it's not through my mobile app, I'm not connecting even to the internet. So I'm even taking a break from any research, taking a break from any opportunities, taking a break from the business, to the point where I'm shutting doors, bro. Like, to do things different moving forward, right? Something that I wasn't, I was about to blow the cover. So whoever's editing this video, erase that. But it's so many changes taking place that there's no excuse. There's no excuse at all. If you find yourself having trouble staying away from social media, remove the app from your home screen. There's
Yep.
an option to do. There's an option to do that. You're gonna receive notifications. That's a whole other level of discipline. You're gonna receive notifications, but are you going to step into the app? Are you gonna click on that notification? No, you're receiving the notification to tell you, hey, there's a message, or hey, there's a comment, or hey, there's a suggestion. Because not everything is a message or a comment or a follow. Most of the time, it's gonna be a suggestion, because the app is really trying to pull people in constantly on a daily basis. Suggestions. No. Stay away from the app. And if that's a problem, deactivate it temporarily. That's another option as well.
Yep.
That's another option. So I really wanted to put that out there, because a lot of people are like, oh, you think it's easy? We're not over here measuring.
It's not easy. It's not about it being easy.
We're not measuring the level of difficulty here. No. We're just putting out the information. You take it as you're receiving it. Are you going to stay away from it, or are you not? We're not measuring the level of difficulty. We're not. You are going to gain the discipline. You are going to decide whether you're going to stay away from social media or not. And you're going to decide if you're going to be a father, if you're going to be a mother, if you're going to be great at your job. If you're not, You are the one that's going to decide, because everything is not only putting the blame on the technology or putting the blame on a person or putting the blame on a place or thing. Are you going to face whatever it is that you're facing? That's the
Yep.
question. Don't
And
get
for
distracted.
everybody is different. And for everybody is
For
different.
everyone is different.
For some of y'all don't have anything that like you really like is like that's your
When you
thing. Like you're
mentioned
stuck
the
on that.
drinking,
Mm-hmm.
big bro, when you mentioned the drinking, it's crazy. At that moment, I wanted to go ahead and jump in because I want to let people know. Like there was one time, like I enjoy my drinks from time to time, but there was a point in my life where the drink took over me completely. So I had to transition. It was not like I went cold turkey, right? There's been times when I went cold turkey, but I want to be transparent here. I want to go from that to where I went to where I am today. Um, there's been times when I went cold turkey, right? But I will fall right back into it because it's like, all right, I know how to control myself. Let me go ahead and enjoy myself, right? But those drinks, I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna have beer and rum. I'm gonna have wine. A lot of people think, oh, wine is okay because it's healthy for you, but wine is also unhealthy when you go past the certain amount. You know what I'm saying? So I've done the transition. Big boy, you remember? I'm not drinking beer. I'm not drinking rum. I'm doing wine now. Man, there was a point that I was a young Grigio because Grigio
I
was my thing.
remember.
It was my thing. So I was like, this is what I'm gonna do, right? But then I also realized I'm like, man, wine does hit you hard too, and I think I'm doing a little too much of it. So I started exercising, and I started doing different things to take me away from the substances. Take me away from the substances. Started like focusing on me, focusing on my health, and don't ever use transition as an excuse, jumping from one substance to another, right? It's like a lot of people may be saying, I smoke weed now because it's legal. Okay, great. It's legal. Great. That's a good thing. It's legal. Congrats. But is it doing you any good?
He,
Your thought
Here's the
process.
thing, bro.
Your thought
When we
process.
talk about legalities, um, I'm not
Liquor's
gonna
legal and it's not good for a
I'm
lot of
not
people.
yeah I'm not gonna knock on you if you believe that, if that's the lie that you want to believe, go ahead, do you right. Um, go to Amsterdam. Hard place to deny this. In Amsterdam, and I'm not talking about Amsterdam in New York. I'm talking about like Amsterdam in Europe.
Europe.
Prostitution is legal. Prostitution is legal, right?
Is it okay?
Some of y'all would be over here, nah, prostitution ain't right. Especially with a lot of child trafficking or human trafficking and blah, 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 blah. Well, guess what? In Amsterdam, it's legal. So when you're telling me, oh, no, well, okay, maybe over there it's okay. Really? It's okay? That's one of the places that they send a lot of people to get human trafficked.
Big bro, I'm sorry. I haven't followed up and I live in this state. It wasn't illegal post pandemic in Manhattan.
I'm
I,
not sure, bro. I didn't follow up in
I
Manhattan.
I believe so. I believe so, but don't quote me on it. Don't quote me on it, but it's crazy. Manhattan, I believe it was or still is legal. Post
Oh
pandemic.
yeah,
Post pandemic.
they are no longer. It's not necessarily that it's a what you call it. Not necessarily that it's legal,
Hmm.
but it might as well be because they were no longer prosecuting it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's like they have one foot out but one foot in. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? So
So tell me, in
crazy.
that
It's crazy.
case,
It's crazy.
would you tell me that it's okay? Because just
No.
because it becomes legal, don't mean that it's okay. I'm just saying. Really look at things with a perspective because
And look
the
how
truth of
they
the
selected
matter
Manhattan,
is
Manhattan, no other boroughs. No
exactly.
other boroughs.
I want y'all to understand this because the enemy will want to keep you trapped. Okay? So a lot of times the excuse that we'll make, the thing, the thing that we'll make the excuse for will be the thing that the enemy himself will use to enslave us. Those of y'all, like, you had been like, nah, you know what? I'm gonna lay off of it. I really know I need to change my habits. And you've been feeling that way, and you started to take, get that, get rid of that, right? All of a sudden you hear now they got the dispensaries and it's legal and blah, 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 whatever, right? Bruh, if all of a sudden you decide to do it because it's legal, but you were wanting to get off of it because you were trying to better your lifestyle, is that not essentially taking, trying to take hold of you again? Those are the kind of discussions, the kind of things that you need to talk about and be honest with yourself about. And a lot of people don't want to be honest. They don't want to have those kinds of conversations, because it means that you have to let go of something that you like. But those are the things, when you do these detoxes, you get to realize, yo, you know what? I really don't need that. I could tell you from a money expenditure perspective. Again, I share with a lot of y'all that how well off I was for years, almost mid six figures. And it wasn't until we had to scale back that it was like, man, this thing that we're paying for, we didn't really need. That thing that we're paying for, I don't ever use. And it was like, there were a lot of things that I didn't, that I wanted to cut out, that for years it was like, nah, I'm gonna leave it like that, because you never know when you want to watch it. You never know when you're gonna use it. This is a cool thing to have, or this or that, upgrading the phone every year, blah, blah, all these different things, because you always wanted to be the one, whatever. You were the trendsetter and everything. And it was like, bruh, completely unnecessary. And guess what? Nowadays, it's like, I don't know why I didn't get rid of that stuff sooner. I don't need that. It's not necessary for me. That's what happens when you detox. Sometimes you're going to be forced to detox because God's going to take that thing away by force, and you're not going to have the means to be able to do it anymore. But I'm just telling y'all, just watch out for them idols too. You know what I'm saying? Just watch out for those idols too. I'm not telling you that you can't have fun. I'm not telling you that, that you can't go watch a movie. I'm not telling you that you can't play this game. I'm not telling you you can't do this. I'm not telling you you can't do that. But I'm just telling you, don't let those things control you. That's all I'm saying. It's okay. Just don't let the things control you. Don't let those things become an idol. Because for some people, that's the problem. It's an idol. So I'm not going to go from the super religious route, because I do believe that that's wrong too, but we do need to pay attention, because the word tells us not everything is going to be for you. It's going to be good for you, Those are the kind of things you have to have that one-on-one relationship with Christ, and he's going to let you know, like, yo, get off of this, get off of that, let this go, whatever it is, So just putting it out there, little bro.
Man, it's been major what we did today for episode 85. I really want to thank everyone who's been watching us, everyone who's been engaging in the chat, everyone who's watching us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. It's been major what's been happening for 85 weeks now. You could have been doing so many other things, but the fact that you take the time to watch, the fact that you take the time to share our content means a lot for us. It really means a lot to us, because we really work hard. You know what I'm saying? And we don't have to be so transparent. We don't have to put all of our information out. But the fact that we do it is because we know that this is what everyone needs, but it's also something that we need, because it's the only way to change this world. It's the only way, because remember, you're like, okay, how are you going to change the world? It's only you and Pastor Carlos. Yeah, but you are all involved. Everyone who's in the chat engaging, everyone who's joining the live to give their testimony, you are involved as well, because that gives other people the path, the access to open up. And it doesn't have to be through our platform, because it can be somebody that's sneaking into our platform, just listening and starting their own. And that's good enough for me as well. Like, I ain't got to take credit for nothing. I just know that God is watching you, and he knows that, man, you took from Pastor Carlos and Jay Mejia, and you making it happen on your page. You're making it happen on your YouTube channel. You're making it happen on your podcast. And I'm okay with that as well. And it's like, as long as you're helping not only yourself but others, there's only good coming our way. And we're only here for some time. Like, our time is limited. We all have our story already written. Our number is already set. And the most we can do is do good for ourselves and do good for others. You know, all the way from the young to the old, because everybody is in a learning process, no matter where they are in life and how old they are. There's a lot of things that adults haven't learned in their youth that they're currently learning right now, and vice versa.
Yep.
And vice versa. There's a lot of things that I've been learning about me and learning about the capabilities, just in general, just everything. It's just everything. Not only me. I'm talking about capabilities. I'm talking about like skills. I'm talking about intention. I'm talking about vision. Just everything that I'm learning. That it's been nonstop, and it's like, man, why didn't I receive this before? But I've mentioned this in the beginning of our episode. There's a reason why we don't receive our gifts early on, because we would have mishandled them. We would have mishandled them. We would have been using our power, our gift, our authority for the wrong reasons. I always say this, and I'm content with that. I'm okay with that. I'm really okay with that. And it takes a lot to actually say such a thing, because when you express yourself the way we do on this platform, a lot of people would feel weakness, sign of weakness. What other people are going to think about us? Like, what are they going to say if I say this? And if they know that I went through this, or if they know that I'm going through this, what are they going to say? What are they going to think? And when you really don't care about what other people say or think, that's how you know that you've been mature, you've been working on your growth, and you're really not concerned about what you've been worried about in the past. And you're growing as a person, because there's so much more than to worry about what another person is saying or thinking.
Yeah.
You should only worry about it when somebody presents their thoughts to you. What does that mean? If somebody's thinking about doing something, or thinking about saying something to somebody else, or thinking about change, if they're bringing it to you, it's for a reason. It's because you are the one assigned to that assignment, to that mission. They're asking for guidance or advice, and that would be directly or indirectly. Because not everyone's going to come to you and say, "Hey, I need you." No. Somebody's going to come to you and tell you, "Look, I'm going through this, I'm going through that, and I'm going through this, and this is what I've been doing, and this and that." They're being indirect. It's like if they're allowing you to hear out their story or their struggle, it's because they want you to be there for assistance. Know when it's direct and indirect. And don't laugh at nobody's downfall. Don't laugh at anyone's mistake, because you're not perfect. You're really not perfect. I'm not perfect. So, and I've been there. I've been there where I've heard of stories, or somebody has spoken to me, and I would laugh at it. I'll be like, "What?" Because the reason why, when I received such information, I was reacting to what I knew, if that makes any sense. Again, we're being transparent here. We're being extremely transparent, because our life is not perfect. I can tell you that I was a very immature teen, and I took my teens all the way into my 20s, and there was a reason for that, because I was so spoiled. I didn't experience hardship till late in my life. Everything was given to me at a young age. Everything was given to me at a young age. So I didn't know what struggle was, which is the reason why late in my life I discovered struggle. But I also learned that I should have been grateful when I wasn't struggling. So don't blame nobody, not your parents, not your friends. Blame yourself for mishandling your spoiledness. Blame yourself for that. But don't dwell on it either. Grow from it. Realize that you were very fortunate, unlike others who were going through it at the time. But one thing is that I must say is that I can see the heart that I have and the reason why I have it. And it came from my creator and my sub-creators, God, parents, right? How growing up, we would share, man. I wish we had people from 187 on and 190 on, man. We would share water bottles. We would share Kennedy Fried Chicken meals. We would share McDonald's. I'm talking about we will order the number 2 because it was 2 cheeseburgers, but I would only have 1. And that cup of soda or high C juice was only half a cup because I was sharing with someone else. Those are the type of stories that I talk about. Transparency. You understand what I'm saying? So I used my spoil. I wasn't, man, I was about to go off. And I wasn't overlooking other people or looking down on people. I was about to say a hood word, and I don't want to mention that on here, on our platform. I wasn't overlooking or underlooking, you name it, whatever you want to phrase it. I would always use whatever I had for allowance, my boys had it. Rest in peace for the ones who are gone and can't admit to it. And those who are alive today, if they would have been connected, they would have told you. My $20 never lasted more than 2 days. But then I was also blessed because, gracias a Dios, que él seguía bendiciendo a mi papá to be able to put those $20 on a daily. And if you do the math, what's 20 times 28? And most months have 30 days. But let's do 28 because it varies, right? Let's just do 28. $20.
Okay.
$20 goes a long way at 13, 14, 15, 16. But we would play football outside. Like we were mentioning, we were on with Jeezy, man, with G. When we were on with Franklin. $20 would go a long way, man. At the time, they were quarter waters. Waters that cost 25 cents. Sodas for 50 cents. Kennedy's was like $2. I'm sorry, $4 for a meal, $2 for a cheeseburger, $4 for 2 cheeseburgers. But $20 goes a long way. Why do you think people look up to us, big bro? Why do you think they do that? Because we open up the doors for them no matter where they come from. We didn't have no fear of how they spoke, how they behaved, where they came from. Because at the end of the day, they respected who we were. So they were behaving on that level. It could have been different with everybody else, but we opened up doors for them. And
it's crazy when you open up doors and
how things change.
People elevate. The way in which they act, it shifts.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing it's the same thing in the spirit too, man. When people come to know it, it's like
crazy. Man, let me give a quick testimony after we. Man, this is crazy. It's like I'm getting flashbacks now. I remember one time there was this one individual. I'm not gonna say no names. And it doesn't even matter because he doesn't join our live anyway. But even if he did, I wouldn't give a name. But I remember, man, I allowed him, I accepted him in my house. Something was a little off. When we stepped in the elevator, he was like a little nervous for some reason. And I'm like, in my teens, I'm not a person to be afraid of because I was like this and
You were a
I,
twig.
I was such a nice dude, and like the people around me were so street smart, and I was always spoiled. You know what I'm saying? So like I had people protecting me, if anything. I wasn't protecting anybody. And this person stole my Blockbuster card, man. This is how
Out of
crazy.
everything.
Out of
Out of
everything. Like
everything.
you could have taken the Xbox. You could have taken the PS. Well, okay, now I'm speaking backwards. You could have taken the PS2. You could have taken Grand Theft Auto. You could have taken souvenirs. You name it. You could have, but you took the Blockbuster card. But es para que tú veas que Dios siempre está con uno. Dios siempre está con uno
They
por
just
el
wanted
corazón que uno
to
tiene.
make it a blockbuster night, man. That's all it was.
El corazón que uno tiene, la intención que uno tiene. He was in the elevator and he blew himself up. He was like, damn, the person's name, the other person that was with me as well. Should I just tell him? And I'm like, bro, just tell me because at the end of the day, I'm not going to be offended by it. And he handed me the card back like, yo, bro, I was about to steal this right here, man. Like, here, this is yours. And that was the last day he was in my house. But everybody else was in there every single day after that. Like, we would have competition in FIFA. We would take turns in Grand Theft Auto because Grand Theft Auto is only one player at the time. We would all take turns. And it's like the fact that I opened up the doors and the fact that my parents allowed these people to be in my house is because they knew y'all all come from the same place. I don't care if you don't have a father, you don't have a mom, you don't have parents, you come from this block, you're involved with this person. I'm going to show you how I live. And now it's up to you to either handle it correctly or mishandle it. Because it can be the first time and many times that you're going to be in my house, or it's going to be the last time you're in my house.
Yep. I even remember, it's funny that you say that. Going back, I remember a friend of mine growing up who, wasn't into good things, hung out with gang members and stuff like that. I remember one time somebody shot up the block and somebody that he looked up to, they shot him right in front of him. And, you're talking this at the time, this kid's about 13, I think at the time, 13, no more than 14. I think he was 13 though. And had this person die right there in his arms, And I remember being there for them, and I remember my mom telling me, like, you know what, we're gonna start having him come around a little bit more, mind you, a lot of people would be like, no, shut the door. This person obviously not into anything good, hanging out with the gang members and everything like that, and be like, no, we're gonna start having him over a little bit, and let's start, taking him over when we go to your grandmother's house. We're gonna go over there. Let's take him, when you go to your grandmother's house, y'all can go fishing or something like that for an hour or two. Your dad will take you guys just so he can go do something different,
Wow, yeah.
just so he can go do something different. And bro, there's like two people that I can think of off the top of my head. One of them would be like, yo, I remember I spent almost every day at your house that summer, or these summers. I had the other one that's like,
changes them.
Exactly.
Changes them.
I had the other one, the one that had the friend die in his arms. And he tells me, even till today, when we reconnected a few years back, he did some time. He did end up doing some time, still staying in the lifestyle. But when he got out, he came out changed. He came out changed. And he told me one day that we connected, he goes, bro, the one thing that I'll never forget was
appreciation.
We went, when that time your mom, your dad, y'all took me out, just fishing. And bro, we ain't even do nothing major fishing, bro. I think we went fishing in the Hudson River, which there's nothing that you want to go fishing for in the Hudson River. But it's like,
but the change of
but it was the
environment,
experience. It was a change in environment.
yeah.
Exactly. And that was something where it was like, he came out and was like, nah, bro, yo, thank you for that. Thank you for that. Why? Because when you realize, yo, what am I doing? You come back, the word talks about teach a child in the way in which they should go, and, they will not depart from it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that was something where it's like, I was preaching I think I was preaching to the youth a few weeks ago, and then I mentioned in the main refiners preaching, but it was the thing of like, yo, that's not just for parents. That's for everybody around. Yo, let's train these kids up in the way in which they should go, and they won't depart from it. And the thing is that even somebody like this, when they departed from it, it was like, yo, you know what? Nah, hold up. Life could be better than this. You know what I'm saying? Like it comes back to memory at some point. In that moment when you're isolated, when things are taken away from you and you're put in prison or whatever the situation is, you come back to it. And it becomes a moment of like, what am I doing? I've seen people that have grown up in church that when it's all said and done, bro, and they go out to the world, they leave the church, they're doing this life, and they're hitting the clubs and they're doing this and that. They get to a moment of like, yo, what? Hold up. What am I doing? Like, for real, what am I doing? And that's the moment when they realize I don't got to be doing that. That's the entire story of the prodigal son. You prodigal son, Jesus gives a parable of the prodigal son, and it's like he wants his inheritance. He gets his inheritance. He goes and he spends it on all this stuff, and he goes and he lives a bad lifestyle and everything. And it's that moment where he's there eating with the pigs, willing to eat the pigs' food, that he's like, hold up, what am I doing? I can go to my father's house, even if I'm a servant at my father's house. I'm doing better than this. I know he'll take me as a servant. And it was like, nah, he got to realize I won't just take you as a servant. I'll take you on as my own son. You know what I'm saying? And that's really the lifestyle that we should be living. That's that Christ-like lifestyle. Like, yo, if you just realize who you are, who you should be, you just come back. None of this other stuff matters. I'll take you as you are. Bro, that's part of the reason I've told people with Refiners Church here in the last few weeks, bro, the door's open for anybody. The door is really open for anybody. It truly is. Because that transformation that I want is not for us to say, yo, big up to Refiners Church for doing it. It's for us to be like, yo, welcome to the kingdom. And Jesus has been waiting for you. Like, your life could be different than what it is now. And I hope that speaks to a number of different people that are watching right now that are like, yo, something just hasn't been right. And I don't feel like doing, I feel like being invisible. I don't want to go to a church, or I'm okay being at the church where I know it's wrong, but I feel like okay being invisible. Yo, if you feel that, you need to come to Refiners, come to Refiners. Or if you feel you are in a church already and you're like, I need to stop being invisible and just make myself known. Here I am with my flaws and everything. God, have at it. Do something. Do that. It doesn't matter where you go, as long as, you seeking that right relationship with the Lord. I mean, let's go. That's what it's about. But these people, like that person, man, and I'm sure these dudes in the block, they don't come looking at the lifestyle that you have now or the lifestyle that I've had and everything like that and be like, nah, I'm ashamed because I went the wrong path or nothing like that. No, these are people that are like, yo, man, good looking out. And it's like, when they see that there's no judgment, but there's a true love to want better for them. Same way elevated those people before, man, it's going to elevate them now, because it's like there's more to it than this. You know
what's crazy? After you mentioned that, someone came to mind, because sometimes, Big Bro, I'm still in the state of New York,
mm-hmm.
and you and I both know that I've been trying to get out here for so long. The beginning was more procrastination, fear, and confusion and not knowing. But then eventually, when I knew, things started to change, family started or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But now I know exactly what I need to do. It does not matter where I'm at. I already know that I got to be out of New York, and that's going to happen for sure. But I remember somebody came up to me and they were like, "Yo, when was the last time you was in Washington Heights?" And I was like, "Man, the last time I was in Washington Heights, I mean, was X amount of time." They were like, "This person is involved in the scenery, or what? I'm sorry, was involved in the scene, in the club lounging scene, but then on their way home, they would bump into so many people. So not only in the club and lounge, they would bump into the blocks, actually, because you got to go through blocks to get home." And he did mention, he was like, "Yo, a lot of people look up to you because they see you on social media and they see how you express yourself and the things that you've been discussing. And they look up to you so bad. You should actually stop by the blocks. Go and connect with them and catch up with them. You don't gotta be out hanging out with them, but just go say what's up. I'm here for y'all. Like, what's up? Just catch up with each other and he made a point. He made a point, and it's just that I know where I came from because the majority of the people that he was mentioning are from the next generation, to be honest. From the generation that I came from. Like it was more group gang related. You know what I'm saying? So where I came from, there was a lot of things that I made it out of that I'm grateful for because to be honest, we could have done so messed up stuff or not change who we were that the whole story would have been different today, is what I'm trying to say. And it's like when you put yourself in these environments, you may bump into people, places, and things that has harmed you in the past and can harm you today because you don't know. It's not about your mindset. It's about that other person or those other person's mindset, where they are.
Right.
But after a while, I started telling myself, it's like this is why we started the platform, Big Bro. Like I didn't give you these details, but it was like when I received the information, I'm like, man, you know what? We got to do things different. We got to have these discussions because we got to start changing lives, even though we're not on the block. I'm willing to make it to the block regardless, or blocks with the S at the end because it's more than one. I was born and raised in one, and I was raised in another. But it was so much that went on from one street to 12 blocks down that nobody knows. And the people that know you, they're going to be like, oh, they're going to have different views on you. They're going to be like, nah, this person was Pete. This person was nothing. This person was something. This person didn't play that. You're going to hear different versions of that person. But at the end, the older we get, the more they realize who was who. Because the person you thought that was, let me keep it PG-13, buns, meaning soft, was the person that really cared for others, and others deserve a second chance, no matter what happened. Because we come from the street, and there's people way more lethal than who I was. Way more lethal. Because I was capable of things. There was people in my circle that was way more capable of what I would
For real.
what I would ever imagine. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, because I could sell you the image that I was hard, but no, I was super soft in my hood. I was super soft, super soft to the point where I was tested over and over and over again, and I had to prove myself over and over and over again. Which is why I had misconduct in high school, misconduct in the other high school I was in, taken over to a detention center, then back to a high school, because I was constantly proving myself to the wrong people. But those people can look at me today and be like, yo, you were doing the right thing all along. We had it twisted. You were doing the right thing all along. Now you got those people with a record. Doesn't mean that I don't have a record. But what I'm saying is that you have people that don't have a record because they always stay true to what they were taught, to where they came from, to where they grew up from, to the household that they came from. And we all mess up. We don't even have to be aggressive to mess up. We don't even got to be aggressive. We don't have to have no assault, no homicide on our record to say that we were reckless. We could have been even reckless to the point where we were so reckless to destroy our own image. Because I could say that was me. And it's like when you can come across those people that you were enemies with and make peace, it's like, damn, man, this is all it took. I would have done this 10 times over just to take us to where we are today. Is this really what it took to show you that I didn't have to like slap you up? And so I can be like the belittled person? I would have done this 10 times over so we can keep the peace that we have today. Because nobody, no one knows what you're living in your household, and you don't know what someone else is living in their household. You don't know that. You have a meal on your table. You have that PS2. You have that Xbox. But does that other person have that? No, all they have is a basketball and a basketball court, public. They're not given much in their household, not even discipline. Because their parents, it doesn't mean that the parents are bad either. Their parents are so busy working to pay rent and to put food on the table that the child fails to realize what's going on.
Some of those parents ain't even know any better.
So
they just didn't.
They don't know any better because all they know is that I got to give my child everything possible to make sure that they don't choose the wrong route. But it's the conversation that helps not choose the wrong route. It's not so much of the action. It's the action with the conversation. Okay, you're willing to do 16 hours for your job? How about you do 12 and take the other 4 to connect with your child? Or you know what, do the 16, but the second you have that time off, connect with your child and don't let them go. Connect with them. Coming from a person that has a father who did 16 hours a day, 5 to 6 days a week. I'm not going to BS and be like 7. 5 to 6, 7 days for years until retiring. But you know what? His gestures spoke louder than words. But not everyone is able to identify gestures. Not everyone is able to identify actions. Not everyone is able to identify words. Not everyone's able to do that. So your life is based on what you were willing to receive from young to old. What you were willing to learn from young to old. And I'm going to tell you right now, a lot of us are fortunate to have our parents alive today, regardless of whatever condition they have, whatever thought process they have, whatever mindset they have. It does not matter. Their intention was to give us the life that we deserve, quote unquote, what their image or understanding of that was. It's up to you based on the advancements of technology and all the information that we have to be like, you know what? They were doing what they knew best. They were doing what they know better. Understand that. Don't dwell and use. My father or mother was working 16 hours. They never gave me attention. But you know what? If they were working 16 hours, how would they be able to give you the attention? If their intention was to give you a better life.
Little bro, I want to put a pause on that real
ahead,
quick. I'm going to give very, very quick testimony on that, because you know when it comes to that all that time that they work, it's real easy, especially as kids.
They did the right thing,
especially as teenagers.
They did the right thing.
Yeah, they did the right thing. It's especially easy as kids or teenagers especially teenagers to go and be like, you know, think you know more and be like, oh, they're doing it wrong, right? And I remember when I was, I can't remember if I was like my last year of middle school, junior high, or if I was already a freshman in high school. It was somewhere in that range, right? It was somewhere between like 8th grade and 10th grade. But I think I was like freshman or a sophomore in high school. And I remember that my dad had a job working on repairs. I mean, you know him, bro. Everybody on the block knew that was the person that did the TV repairs. That's the person that like anything that was electronics could fix it. And he worked at a repair shop, which, don't get me wrong, the repair shop, you know, I mean, it was a job, right? It was a job. And
I'm sorry, if I'm not mistaken, he got Jesse that job there.
Exactly. He got my cousin, his sister, that job. So, I mean, and he hooked up, you know, numerous people with the job there and everything like that, right? And I remember him with the job, and you know, like you see, because they would, you know, he would get paid in cash, you know, not because of not because he was illegal or anything like that, but it was just one of those things. The place gave you the option, you know, and most of the time the shop would pay you in cash, and so they paid him in cash, and you know, sometimes as he was coming home, he would eat for like an hour or two, you know, he'd eat and be there for like an hour or two, and then he'd go back out. It turned out that around that time, my uncle, JB, his dad, had gotten him a job working where he could go and essentially do cleanup afterwards, you know, essentially like the trash takeout, trash cleanup at where my uncle was working. So my dad was working 2 jobs. And then, you know, eventually he went back. I guess he was just trying to make ends meet or whatever. I don't know, because again, I'm a kid. I don't really know the details. I just remember that from when like I was like 9, 10, 11, right? Him working 2 jobs. And later, he was still working that one job. I knew he got gotten a little bit more. And of course you see like, you know, that he's you see that like he's bringing like the stacks of the money, you know, which as a kid, my kid sees me, with $200 in my hand, and that kid thinks like I'm balling. Any one of y'all that is watching right now knows that if I had $200 in my hand, you'd be like wondering, okay, do you have more in the bank account, or is that all you have? Because if that's all you have, how much longer do you have that for? That ain't gonna last you more than a couple days.
That goes on the light bill alone.
Exactly, that goes on the light bill itself for the house doesn't, you know, that won't cover.
Unless
you know,
you got solar panels and stuff. But, you know,
unless you got the solar panels and they rolling back the electric bill. But I remember now being a teenager, knowing a little bit more, my dad made the decision to drop the job and go, you know, go on unemployment and go to take some refrigeration classes. And I remember my mom and dad talking to us, you know, being transparent as teenagers and being like, yo, listen, we scaling back on a number of different things because your dad's, you know, dropping the job. He's going to go do this refrigeration thing. He wants to make a little change there. And I understand that now, being a grown up, you know, where it's like, man, when you realize, yo, what am I doing? Like, this is not going to cut it for the rest of my life. I need to think retirement. I need to think this. I need to think that. And he switches his mindset. And he's like, no, I got to do something different because this ain't it. You know what I'm saying? But he decided to make that change. And I'm not thinking about it from that perspective as a teen. I just look at it as like, yo, hold up. In a school, a private school, where almost all of the private schools being paid for by scholarship, you know, it's a prominent high school. You know, you got famous people came out of that high school. Famous people send their kids paying that crazy money for the school. It's like one of the more expensive schools in New York.
Was able to do it through all the adversity.
You know, the majority of it was paid by scholarship because of what, you know, the money, because of how well I performed in school. Because one of the things that my parents made sure was like, yo, you ain't gonna be slacking on the school. You know what I'm saying? They did not play that game.
And you was a ball player.
And I played ball, you know.
Let's talk about that.
That's another day. Anyway, but long story short, I'm there at a private school now, nothing but rich kids for the most part. And it's like, that's not the time as a teenager to be thinking about like, yo, I ain't got no money. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're scaling back. When all these kids are balling out because their parents got money, I'm not, what the heck? And I remember, I don't even remember because it was foolishness, right? I don't even remember what brought up the conversation. But I remember I got at my dad and I was like, what are you doing? Like, you were making good money where you were at. Now you're on unemployment and you're taking these classes and we scaling back. Teenager know-it-all. You parents that have teenagers know that your teenagers feel like they know it all. And here I was like, what are you doing? Like, thinking to myself, it's not fair that we scaling back because of this and that and whatever. And I remember he was tight because it was like, you don't understand. He was angry, legit angry. And it was a thing of like, you don't understand. You don't understand. Like you don't get it. And it was a thing of like, yeah, because you got a good job. A lot of people don't have a good job like that, And again, I'm thinking from listen, my perspective was I knew dudes from the block. Their parents weren't doing nothing or had, jobs that were a whole lot worse. So it was, of course, when I'm comparing the two, I'm like, yo, but you balling out in comparison to them. But what I didn't realize was that he wanted better.
Yeah.
For all of us. You know what I'm saying? For all of us. He was thinking about the college that was going to be paid for. He was thinking about the house that he wanted to get. He was thinking about retirement. He had a vision that was more forward thinking than that.
Long-term.
Long-term. And I hope the Lord is speaking to some of y'all right now, because some of y'all in the natural, you still got that mentality. And it's like, what are you doing? And it wasn't until I was an adult that I realized, they got a house. They're set for retirement. They're good. For the path that God gave them, they're good. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't thinking about that before. Everybody's got a different path. Everybody does. Right? But a lot of us too, in this, from the mindset of what really matters, spiritually speaking, bro, what are you doing? Because you're putting it off. You're putting it off. You're continuing to put it off. And it's like,
yeah,
come on now.
You can't.
There's something tugging at you that lets you know, I got to get right.
It's the toughest decision, man. It's the toughest. As you were talking, when you were mentioning the whole thing, Theo and just the whole process, right? From when we were adults. I remember one time when, this was one time, because I'm very big on self-talk. I used to talk negatively, but it wasn't my intention. In the past, like, oh, I'm broke, I'm this, I'm that, and it's like I wasn't realizing that I was attracting brokenness into my life, right? Even though I didn't mean it, but my body wasn't receiving it as a joke, because I'm just speaking. My body received it mentally. I know it's a joke, but my body's not receiving it that way, right? So people probably thinking I'm crazy, but how is it possible that your mind is understanding what you're saying, but it's like you got to be careful with what you put out, is what I'm trying to say.
There's power in your tongue. There's power
so
in what you
much
speak.
Power.
You're giving life to things.
Thank you, bro.
And I want y'all to understand that it is so accurate. A lot of y'all think, no, it's nothing. It's just a game, whatever.
There's so much power in the tongue, because my daughter, when I told her that, joking around, I told her this for the first time. I've said
my son has done similar stuff, bro.
I've said this to myself many times, but when I said it in front of my daughter, she's like, no, Daddy, you're not broke. You're fixed. I was like, wait, what? You're not broke. You're fixed. Buy it. And it's like, whoa, okay, hold on a second. I'm not broke, I'm fixed. It's crazy how our child's mindset It's like helping us push ourselves to, hey, they're not telling us directly, stop speaking like that. Indirectly, they're telling us, what do you mean? They're giving us their perspective. And that's exactly the perspective we're supposed to have because we are fixed. We're not broke.
And that
It's just that
and
we're
that just
putting
brings
our
me,
money towards the
that.
wrong
Yep,
things. That's all it
yep.
is.
And that brings a verse to my mind, which is, you have to have the heart of a child, the mentality of a child,
Boom.
to inherit the kingdom of heaven. And I want you to understand,
This is
to
crazy.
inherit the kingdom of heaven,
Amen.
this is not just, the Lord's giving me revelation right now. This is not
You're not
just,
broke, you're
oh,
fixed. Who says that?
exactly. That's a child with the right mindset. That's faith. That's the
It's like you don't
perfect example
even
of
show
faith.
them, you don't show them when something is broken, it gets fixed. And I understand that they watch content on YouTube and stuff like that. But the fact that they go from point A to point B, it's like, how? If
Yep,
I didn't speak to you this personally,
yep.
directly.
And the thing is, when you have that kind of mentality, you walk with a certain kind of faith. Your walk is different because you have a degree of expectation. Kids, right? Kids expect things a certain way, right? That's just their expectation. It's their faith. It's like, no, my daddy's going to provide. My daddy's going to do this. My mommy's going to do that. That's their expectation, right? So you walk in accordance with that. But we as adults lose that. We do. And the thing is that if we are to inherit the kingdom of heaven, I don't know who I'm speaking to right now, but to inherit the kingdom of
Everybody. You're
heaven,
speaking to everybody right now, even to me.
thank you, Lord. Man, that's the Lord speaking through you right now. This is for everybody to receive. The thing is that when you have that kingdom mentality, right, you're going to come to the understanding that you are going to inherit the kingdom. It's not, Jesus was able to perform miracles here on earth. Jesus received here on earth. He didn't just receive in heaven, he received here on earth. On earth, the disciples, his disciples received, those apostles, they received here on earth. They were able to do both. Why are you thinking that you aren't able to do both? That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't line up. But that's because it's that the understanding from a child perspective, that walk in faith from a child perspective, and you need to be able to walk that same way. And bro, again, speaking of transparency, right? We are transparent. We need to be transparent. I can be transparent and let you know there's plenty of times, if I tell you here in the last 2, 3, 4 years that I've spoken in that kind of way in which I shouldn't speak, where I should speak more like your daughter did with, like a child, having that faith, being like, no, it's gonna happen, and all, at all times, in all moments. Some people would be like, oh, it's 5 years, it's been a long time, that was a long time ago, maybe you didn't speak that way. Even recently, I can be transparent that there are times where you're like, man, no, I don't know, and you start thinking, but how? And man, we need to really stop worrying about the how. The how is God. The how is Christ. The how is he's going to show out. The how is he's going to do it. The how is that he's going to make it happen. The how is that it's going to come to fruition. The how is that he's spoken those promises, so they have to come to pass. The how is him. The problem is that we're here looking how, and the way in which that how gets answered is him. People ask the questions: the where, the when, the why, the how, right? The where, wherever he wants. The when, whenever he wants. The why, because he wants to do it. And the how, however he wants. That's the answer to every one of your questions. So when we're here thinking, man, I know I should be seeing this blessing. I know that I should be seeing this stuff happen. I know I should be seeing all of this, man. What's going on? But I'm not feeling that way. I'm feeling broke. I've said it to myself. You spent emotionally. You might be spent. Your faith you might feel like you're like on the last legs of your faith, your finances, your everything, man. When he wants to do it, he's going to do it. He's doing it already. promises are yes and amen. He's going to show out.
Amen, bro.
And bro, I don't know who needs to hear this. And again, it's everybody, right? Bro, I can tell you, I have seen God provide like you wouldn't believe. The Lord told me, start Refiners Church. He said, these next few months, you're going to go and you're going to pay this money. Money was about like $3,000. I didn't have $3,000. Broken down into payments, $350 a month. I didn't have $350 a month, but I was obedient to what he told me to do. He provided. Recently, those of y'all that watch Refiners Church early on, when we started at the end of March, in April, and May, right? We'll notice that when we had our lyrics on the screen, little bro probably knows where I'm going to go with it. But when we had our lyrics on the screen, when we had the welcome to Refiners Church on the screen and all that, we had a lyric or the image or whatever, right? And then all of a sudden you'd have a big watermark right in the middle of the screen that said, welcome to Refiners Church. Oh, excuse me, that said Pro Presenter. And it would display itself over the welcome to Refiners Church. It would display itself over the lyrics as, you know, we're trying to lead worship and everything. I think it was sometime in May or the beginning of June. You know, we haven't really been asking anybody. We haven't been telling people, like hammering home to people like donate, tithe, offer, and all that stuff, right? The people that God has put it in their hearts, they've been giving and bless them. But we got to the point where it was like, yo, that's really distracting and we really need to do something. And I continued, because of a broke mentality, would continue like, one of these days, God's going to provide, he's going to provide, he's going to provide, he's going to provide. And eventually it just came to the point where it was like one day, I think it was in May or in June. Actually, it was in June, because we just made the last payment for it. I was like, you know what? We're just going to take a leap of faith. I don't have the money to pay for that because times is hard financially. And we're going way beyond paycheck to paycheck. I told my wife this recently. It's tough because, you know, we're operating refiners at a deficit personally, right? Because we like, every week we're giving people to eat. Every week we have stuff there. Every week we're giving somebody something. Every week, like, people donated, and God bless all you guys that donated the school supplies. But, you know, it was like, man, we're even going to go and donate out of our own pocket for whatever is necessary. And honest to God, it's a deficit, and we don't have money to be operating in the deficit, you know? Mm-hmm. So to be adding a $400 expense for a piece of software, it's like, it's a leap of faith. Every week is a leap of faith with everything that's spent. And it was like, we're going to spend on it. And we're going to make it happen. And thankfully, we were able to break it down in 4 payments. And it was like, okay, we're going to pay that. We took a step of faith as a child, and God provided for it. Some of y'all need to hear that. I think everybody needs to hear that. Especially right now in this time of a deficit. And a lot of people got deficits in different ways. Some of y'all have a deficit financially. And you're like, I just don't see how. And some of y'all have been given the direction, right? And there's some of y'all that have been holding on, saying, like, the direction that God gave me, I don't have the finances. I don't have the way how. I don't even know what to do. Well, ask him for the direction on how to do it. And if you feel like he's like, if you feel like he's not giving you the direction, and you just feel that there's like something in you, right? Still with me, little bro? Did I lose you?
Yeah, you're good. You're good. You're good.
I'm gonna let this go because I feel like it's disconnected for some reason. Let me try it one more time. Okay, I think I got it. Anyway,
I don't think it's connected, but we can hear you clearly though. You're good.
Okay, cool. But some of us aren't making the moves, even like that inkling that we have of like, I need to make that step, like I need to take that step, right? And you feel that something, like that there's something that's trying to convince you, don't take that step, don't do it, right? But deep in you, you feel like I should. And I can tell you, there's been so many things, starting the church, paying for software, paying for food, paying for supplies, paying for this. Let's take it away from the church. I tell my kids over and over again, man, we're going to have to wait. 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 We're going to have to wait for this. We're going to have to wait for that. But something happens when you continue to put it off. And then all of a sudden, you have to do it. There's no choice.
Yeah.
And you are now forced. You didn't want to take that step of faith on your own, so now you're forced to take that step of faith and trust. And bro, I'm not saying the finances have been perfect, but we have been able to take care of everything that we needed to take care of, and we never have lacked food on our table. And the things that were necessities were taken care of. And the things that came up suddenly were taken care of. Somehow, some way, God provided. Bro, there's been days, and I'm so thankful. So thankful. Because even pastors or preachers or Christian social media influencers that I've seen that I'm like, wow, God uses those people. One of them recently did a post this past week where he has a beautiful studio setup, and he put up a video that was like just the regular lights, none of the special stuff. He was like, I've been sitting at my studio for like 4 hours. God hadn't given me direction before, didn't give me direction now, and I don't know what to tell you. He's like, so I just feel like God is telling you, like, he's like, I might put up this video, I might delete it. I don't know what I'm going to do. But I just want to let you know that, you know, sometimes he's like, I'm just going to be transparent.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, sometimes there's a day that I'm like, to the last second, God gives me the message. And I can tell you from a pastoral perspective, spiritually speaking, there have been times where it's like, yo, it's Saturday night. Where are you at?
Yeah.
Sunday morning. And the Sunday mornings really haven't happened.
I think that only happened once. I can only imagine, bro. Yeah.
And you're on edge because you're like, where's this message at? But he always comes through. Some of y'all, it's from like an emotional perspective. You feel like, yo, I'm just tired. I'm beaten down. I don't know what else. And you've been putting a lot on your shoulders, and you're like, I don't really have anything like left to give. Like, I just don't have the energy for it anymore. I don't got the strength for it anymore. But you take those steps of faith, and God shows out there too, because you get to see more of his grace. You get to see more of his provision in every area of your life. But a lot of situations you approach from the perspective of, I can't anymore. I'm broke. I'm broke spiritually. I'm broke physically. I'm broke monetarily. I'm broke emotionally. I'm spent. Maybe it's not I'm broke. Maybe in some of those, to not say I'm broke, but you feel like I'm spent. Like I feel spent. I feel like I'm used up. I don't have much more. But many times that's where God provides. That's actually, I know for a fact, I can tell you that's where God provides. And some of y'all need to hear that this evening. All of y'all, I think, need to hear that this evening, because I think almost everybody, if you haven't been there, you're probably there right now, or you're about to be there and you feel like you're on the road. And God is giving you this message right now in this moment to say, like, yo, approach this from the perspective of ask me what you need to do. Go in that direction. You're not broke. You're fixed.
You're fixed.
Because
that line was epic.
Guess who the one is that fixes you, that fixes everything? It's him. It's not anybody else. It's him. If you've been broken down spiritually and emotionally, physically, monetarily, your finance, whatever, every area of your life, he's the one that could turn it all around. It's him that could do it. But you got to place things in his hands. And I'm going to pass this to you in just a second, little bro. I want to share with y'all one more testimony. In looking at all these things, those of y'all that have been rocking with us, those of y'all that have been following me through this journey, know the last few years I do an event here in Houston with a group of people. This is a Jesus Reigns event, which we're going to be doing it again this year. We always do it in September. That's essentially a night of worship, right? And we typically do it in a park. This year we're doing it a little bit different. We're doing it somewhere else. Still here in Houston. But this year we went to go see the venue that we're going to be holding it at. And it was funny because every single one of us that went, that's like a major part of it, I found out every single one of us were like, just stuff has been happening where we're just like wasted, we're spent, And every person was putting an excuse why to not do it this year. And one person stood up and was like, I reached out to this other person. It's typically the person that puts it together. And they're like, the head person in charge. And I was like, you know what? I don't feel like doing it either, but I'm coming to realize I'm not doing it for myself. You're not doing it for you. We're supposed to be doing this for God. He called us to do this. And that other person was motivated and then was like, that's when they rushed. Yeah, we're going to do this and we're going to make this happen. And I was feeling the same way. And they shared that with me. And I was like, wow, we all were feeling the same way. That's crazy. And at the same time, I'm looking at this journey with refiners and everything that we need to make happen, And they bring somebody that came from another country. They came from the Philippines. And this lady all of a sudden starts talking to me. And she's like, they're like, oh yeah, Pastor Carlos, he just opened his church a few months ago. Oh, you just opened up your church? She's like, I have a church in the Philippines. I was like, oh, that's cool. She's like, tell me about your church. Where do you have your church? Because she also spends some of her time in Houston. She's like, where's your church located? And I'm not ashamed, and I share it here. I go, well, right now, for those of y'all that have been watching Refiner's Church and haven't realized, it's going to be an eye-opener for you too. I told her, for right now, God gave me the direction that we do church in my house. So he let me know we're going to do it there for some time. I don't know how long. Could be a few months. Could be a year. Could be 2 years, 5 years. Who knows? However long he says. But he showed me that I needed to do it in my home. And he spoke that we needed to do it in our home. So my wife and I are doing a church in our home. And the response she gave me was surprising. Because she came and she said, when I started my church, we started in our home too. And they shared, and she shared with me, there's a lot of people that start with it, big ministries that started in their church. A lot of the biggest ministries started church in their home. I'm like, wow. And she shares with me a story. Confirmation. Shares with me a story in a moment in which I'm like, man, how's God going to provide for this stuff, man? Like, there's different stuff we got to do. I don't even know how we going to order the snacks and the food from Walmart this week. You know, no money's coming in. What are we going to do, right? And she shares with me, you know, with my church, she decides to share this out the blue. She goes, in the Philippines, the house that I have is on a farm. When we started church on the farm. And all of a sudden we had a bunch of people. She's like, for some reason, most of the people that work on my farm decided that they wanted to come to my church. And she's like, and we're baby Christians. I'm talking about like, we've only been Christians for like 4 years. And God told us to open a church. But we didn't expect the flood of people that were going to come. And because of that, all those workers that decided to come, they started telling a bunch of people. And next thing you know, our house is full of people. And the next thing happens, we need a building. And my husband and I, she tells me, are stressing over this. Because, man, we're thinking, we just started building an addition to our house. And we had it reserved for this other thing, but I guess we're going to have to use it. And we're there stressing because I guess we're going to have to use it, but that's not really like suitable for the church. And they're there stressing over it. And she says, out of the blue, and I believe everybody's going to receive from this today. She goes, out of the blue, we had a company reach out to my husband and I.
Mm.
And that company gave us a very simple proposition. We need you to grow all of our chickens on your farm. So you grow them, you give them back to us, we're going to give you more. And rinse and repeat. You take care of them there at the farm. When they're grown, you give them back to us. We're going to send more your way. We're going to rinse and repeat. She said in 6 months, we didn't look for this. They sought us. That means that's God's provision. God sent them, right? They said, in 6 months, we had enough to build the building that we needed for the church.
Wow.
It was completely paid for.
Yeah. That's
When you talk about God giving a word in his perfect time,
amazing.
it was like, wow. And the fact that she shared that she was only a Christian for 4 years, not even 4 years. And she's like, my husband and me aren't pastoring the church. We never pastored the church. God just told us we needed to open a church, and he led us to who the pastor needed to be. We were obedient in opening the church. He provided the pastor. He provided the finances for a building. He provided everything. We were just obedient. I don't know who needs to hear this, and I believe it's everybody who's on today, and you need to share it with other people. God right now is setting up, and I've seen it. He's separating people right now. He's separating so many people to do what he's calling them to do because he's doing big things. And the way that you know he's doing big things, like huge things, the darkness that we're seeing in the world right now is at a level we've never seen it before. From how we treat each other, to the arrogance and pride that we have, to the spirit of Jezebel being all over the place, to the natural disasters that we see. Prayers, out to Hawaii, man, how crazy it's been with those wildfires and everything. If you're not praying for them, please pray for them, because we're hearing people that are losing everything over there, like near Maui or in Maui. I'm not sure, one of those two. And it's like God is providing for people, but you can't come in with this mentality of wherever you're lacking that I don't have enough. Because if you believe you don't have enough, then guess what? You're telling him that he doesn't have enough because he's the one that provides it. So you're saying to him he doesn't have enough. I'm humbled. I can tell y'all. In recent weeks, I'm even like, I forget, because the enemy's real good at making things so bad for you to forget what you've heard or how God has provided. And we are forgetful. We're forgetful children. I hope today serves as a vitamin of like memory power for some of y'all, right? That y'all get that COVID cloud out of your mind, right? Where you forget things easily and start to remember the goodness of God. And if you don't know his goodness, if you don't know him as a provider, or you've forgotten him as a provider, man, I pray over you that you get to realize who he is as a provider if you've never known him as one, and that you get to remember him as a provider if you've known him before. And it's like, you know him now, but you just continue to forget that he provides for you. Because I just know a lot of us running on E, bro. A lot of us are running on E. A lot of us are on empty. A lot of us are running on empty. But he could fill that tank, and he will fill that tank. But in order to do that, you need to approach this like a child. The children inherit the kingdom of God. And that kingdom of God, you aren't to inherit it when you get to heaven too, right? But you're to inherit it here as well. He wants you to walk in power. He wants you to walk in authority. He wants you to, if you need financially, that he could tell you, yo, go open up the mouth of that fish. And if you open up the mouth, everything that you need in terms of money, that gold coin, those dollars, it's right there. You know what I'm saying? If you're thirsting, that he can bring a Samaritan woman for you to have an encounter, for him to provide, for you to provide them something. That's the whole reason you're there, for you to provide something to them, but in exchange for them to give you something to drink. For you to perform a miracle on somebody. And I know that I know the Lord's showing me right now, that's the reason that he's bringing this to memory right now, because this is for me and this is for Refiners Church. For you to perform the miracle, man, this is even for y'all, man. If you really want to take it, take it. For you to perform the miracle or the deliverance or whatever it is that needs to happen miraculously, supernaturally, so that your faith can be built up. This is for you tonight. And this is for you because you need to accept it. Because if you accept it and you allow him to show out, he's going to be glorified by that. And he needs to be glorified by that. And he wants children that are willing to glorify him. Because I think most of us, if not all of us, haven't been doing a great job of that. And I can tell you, I'm guilty of it myself. I have not been allowing him to receive the glory because, like you said, little bro, every now and then words come out of my mouth that should not come from a child of God. And I'm not talking about curse words in terms of, man, God is good. I'm not talking about curse words in terms of bad language that means like profanity. I'm talking about curse words that means bad language in the sense of what you're speaking, you are cursing yourself. Because when you speak, you're broke. Like you said, you attract the brokenness. When you speak the I'm broken, you attract brokenness. When you speak all this stuff, that's what you are attracting. Because the reason that you're attracting is, and hopefully this is a lesson to many of you, it's either a reminder or a lesson for you tonight. Satan and his demons have no power. He does not have any power. Those demons do not have any power. That's why they're so eager to get you to say something that you should never say. Because they're pressing down on you so bad to make you give up and make the bad decision. That's the difference. And if you don't believe it, I remember a few months ago, my brother-in-law had us watching a TV show, very weird TV show, but it was supposedly based on real events. Like, not in terms of like real events, like this was like, you know, this is a true story, but the events in real life that inspired it, those were real. The African American community, when they came back from, I believe it was World War II, many of them were given terrible loans, terrible home loans, home mortgage loans around Compton, California. And the thing is that in those areas of California, there were, you know, white people who had homes, and those were good neighborhoods for them. But now, because they saw the African American community coming in, they didn't like it, because it was now one black person in my neighborhood, now two black people in my neighborhood. And as a result, imagine when you've come back from a war, right? You're dealing with the trauma from the war, right? And on top of that, you're really struggling to make ends meet, to pay a terrible home mortgage, right? And at the same time, imagine now you get these people that don't want you in their, you know, to have what you have. In terms of these white folk in the neighborhood doing terrible things to the African Americans that were now in the community, hoping that they would leave the neighborhood. But at the same time, the banks that were putting them in terrible mortgage situations, home loan situations, were doing it purposely, knowing that the white people were going to make their lives impossible, and that because of the financial pressure and the pressure from society coming in, they were hoping that those people would give up on those mortgages so that they would make some money off of it, and then they can go and sell it to the next person. Those homes are territory. Those homes are property. Those homes are a blessing. Whoever wants to receive this tonight, receive it. The enemy is working in the same way. The Lord's saying, this is something for you. And the enemy will bring all these different things around you to make you feel the pressure so you can give up your blessing. But while you're giving up the blessing, you're doing a bunch of really dumb stuff on top of that to make your life worse.
And it's easy to be distracted, man. It's easy.
Exactly. Because the enemy just wants you to speak something.
Yeah.
Because the moment you speak it, you will start to walk in that direction. You will start to believe the lie. When people commit suicide and they think there's no way out, right?
Yes, man.
There is a way out. There always is. There always is. When you don't think that there's a way to make something work, make ends meet. When it's going toward the purpose of God, there's always a way.
XXX said it, man. XXX said once there was a content that was like going viral. He said death is completion. Like, whenever you're going through struggle, adversity, that's when you're growing. That's when you're constantly growing, developing. Death is just completion. Like, that's it.
That's
your mission
finality
is done.
Right there. It's over.
Your mission is done. And he was going to wake a lot of people up. You know, I'm not too educated on his life and what happened and what led to his death. What I'm saying is that when somebody's as woke as him, it's like, expect anything, you know, because when you have that power through music, there's a lot of people who are not going to be happy with you whenever you're spreading a good message. And when you're an eye-opener to many, you know, you're really at risk when you do that. You know, you can see that through I don't want to jump into conspiracy, and this is why like a whole music episode hasn't happened yet. I mean, it's been 85 weeks, but it hasn't happened because it's the right people should be involved in this conversation, who are well educated on this, and the knowledge is on another level. Because you got Lisa Left Eye, who was doing major things for the community overall. You have Aaliyah, who was doing major things, and you have other people who were doing similar things. And that was just mentioning people in the music industry. There's people outside of the music industry, which I'm not gonna put a name out right now because that's gonna it, it'll change the way people look at us if we were to give names.
Mhm.
You know, and it's like think crazy, look at us like we're crazy, but at the end of the day, the proof is in the pudding, you know. And you believe whatever you want to believe. Don't believe what you don't want to believe. We just got to learn how to respect each other's opinions, each other's views, because there's a lot of things that exist in this world. And
Yep.
it's a lot of things that exist in this world. And it's like, Big Bro, we had an episode on spirituality. We had people mention the situations that they had with demons, with spirits, even myself. And you would have people comment and say, these people are crazy. Like they just need attention, or they just need content, or they just need to talk on something, and they don't have nothing else to
It's
bring up but
crazy until
that.
you
It's
see it.
crazy until you see it because it's real. This stuff exists. It doesn't have to be physical. You don't have to see it. A lot of people go through it in their dreams, and dreams is easy for you to say, oh, it was just a dream. No, it was not just a dream. But when you get to live it reality, where you actually hear these things, see these things, that's when you tell yourself, like, oh man, you know what, this person was right. Don't wait for something like that to happen to give reason to someone else. Just listen and learn. It may seem crazy, don't judge them, because that can be you one day. And whenever
Exactly.
you express yourself and you admit and you give your testimony, people are gonna look at you like you're crazy.
Yep. And
And you
believe
see it
me,
happen all the time. We see it
the
happen.
easiest thing would be to not mention stuff like that. The easiest thing would be to be like,
And
no, that's not real. That's not
I
real.
wish we could
But the
have a recap.
moment, exactly, and we will at
Yeah,
one point, because
we
believe me,
got
there's a
to.
bunch of y'all that are watching that need to get demons delivered, and we about to be about that life. Refiners, we're right on the cusp. You know what I'm saying? It's just that step of faith, but it's just telling you, bro. People don't think the easy solution if you want certain things. If you want to, you not have people call you crazy and everything, would be like, no, that stuff's not real. Just keep doing you. But I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna be blunt and honest with many of you.
Yeah.
The reason that you would prefer to believe that it's not real would be because if you find out that that's real, then you're gonna have to acknowledge that Satan is real. And if you acknowledge that Satan is real, then you got to acknowledge that God exists. And if you acknowledge that God exists, there's a lot of stuff that you're going to be thinking like, yo, I ain't living the life I should be living. I'm way off. So it's easier for you to be like, let me not have to make those changes in my life. So I won't pay attention to God. I won't act like these changes I need to make, it's not the devil trying to keep me in that spot. And I'll also pretend like demons don't exist. Life is good.
Bro, I'll make a long story short right now. And again, I mentioned this story when we had that episode. But just to make a long story short, because my life ain't perfect. There was years back when I was having issues in my household. I don't know why and how this happened, but when my neighbor I was connecting with my neighbor, and I asked him to come in. And he, so as he was coming in, he wasn't even focused on me. He was just looking around like this. And right away, he gave us the scripture. I'm not fluent with the Bible at all. This is transparency. I'm not fluent with the Bible at all. Big boy, you know this. But he just kept like, I'm looking at him. I could have been like, yo, hello, I'm telling you to come in. Why you keep looking around me? He gave us the scripture, spoke to us, which I'm grateful for him to this day. Great individual, man. He's still my neighbor today. Amazing individual, extremely religious as well. And his background, man, like where he came from the hood. You know what I'm saying? That day passed. Like I said, make a long story short, I ran into him in the parking lot. You want to know what was his first thing that he asked? He was like, "Who have you accepted in your house?" I could have been like, "Yo, like, why are you asking me this? Like, we spoke yesterday. You gave me a scripture. I received your message. I received your advice. Like, why this question now?" I could have been paranoid, but I'm not surprised because I've gone through things prior to that situation. He was like, "Who have you accepted in your house? Because you have spirits in your house that don't belong there. Whoever you accepted in your house has been bringing those spirits in." And I'm like, wow. Uh, thank you. And he was just like, just be very careful. From now on, that's exactly what's destroying your family. So just be very careful. Be mindful of who you bring in. Be mindful of who you have conversations with, because they don't have to step into your house physically. You can actually have a conversation and you can bring it with you as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I did not know of this. I'm just listening to him, but I'm not looking at him like he's crazy because, again, I've gone through more intense stuff. Mind you, you're telling me this, I should be afraid. I'm not afraid because I've seen worse prior to this. But now that you're telling me that there's evil is coming into the household, it's like, wow. That means that whenever you have gatherings, whenever you have conversations with people, whenever you have connections with people, whether it's physically or verbally, you are opening doors to your house, to your household. You're bringing it with you. That means that, okay, let's just say you're not bringing people into your household. You're having dinner or you're having a conversation at a birthday party, at a baby shower, at a gender reveal, at a restaurant, and you're opening up doors to that evil spirit because you're feeling comfortable speaking to that person, but you don't know that person's intention. So what happens is when you have that conversation with that person and you go back home, you're not going home alone anymore. People are going to think I'm crazy. I'm going to end it there. Because we'll leave that.
They'll think you're insane. We'll leave that for that one.
Attention, Jael. If you're still connected with us, you know that's the perfect person to have on.
We gonna have to get Prophet J on there too.
I brag about the people that you have with you, bro, because we don't have that here. We don't have it. Most people don't have that in their churches. Most people don't have those people in their organizations. Most people don't have those people in their workplace, in their family. Like, you name it. You got to be grateful for who you have around.
I'm gonna just say this, bro. I'm gonna just say this. For those that think that it's crazy, I used to think it was crazy. I'm sure little bro at some point probably thought that it was crazy, right?
It's real. I thought it was crazy until I came through it. Like I told you my stories.
Exactly, until you go through it. But here's the deal. If you think that it's crazy, if you think, oh no, these dudes is crazy,
Yeah.
Jesus is tripping, right?
Yeah.
Let me just share with this with you. That same thing that tells you they're crazy, that same thing that tells you, just shut it off. You're kind of crazy. I don't need to be hearing that. Do you ever think who might be whispering in your ear to shut it off? Right? I'm going to end it with this. Go and look at McDonald's. Go and look at Coca-Cola and Pepsi, right? They have you consume the stuff, right? They're not telling you that it's bad for you. In fact, I'm going to go a step further. There are certain things that you can intake, certain companies that will sell you the stuff that you can intake, that when somebody comes in, just go look at Big Tobacco, right? Go look at the cigarette companies, Big Tobacco. When the first major reports used to come up of smoking and tobacco causes cancer, right? Tobacco came and would present supposed doctors that they were paying off and stuff like that to tell you that that was wrong and to present you with the health benefits, because it was to their benefit to get you to believe the lie.
Yeah.
In order for you to continue to consume.
They prescribe cigarettes for stress. Big bro, I'm sorry. This is going to take 5 seconds. They prescribe cigarettes for stress. But if you think about it, when you're smoking a cigarette, coming from a cigarette smoker, because I used to smoke cigarettes, and a lot of people may not even know this, but when you inhale and exhale, that itself is therapeutic. It's not the cigarette. It's your air. It's the air that you're inhaling and exhaling. That's the stress relief. It's not the tobacco. The tobacco is the product. Your exercising of breathing is the real cure. And I'm sorry, I had to put that out.
No, that's great. But you see, that's the thing. The enemy will make you think, will be whispering in your ear, don't listen to what they're just telling you. They're crazy. Even the fact that they're saying that they used to not believe in it and that they thought that that was crazy is a lie. We have no reason to be lying about it, because we don't, nobody needs to be thinking that we're crazy, right?
I also want to mention something, Big Ron. I'm sorry to interrupt again. I don't want anyone who's a smoker to feel ashamed, because we all have different habits. We're all fighting against things, and there's reasons why we do what we do. So don't, I don't want to make anyone feel bad because they
at this point,
or hookah. It's just be mindful of what you're doing, because I've been there, and we can always fall back into that habit as well, which is why I don't judge anyone. Especially when you're already a smoker, whether it's cigarette or hookah, it's easy to fall back into it. Just continue to fight to try not to be that.
Exactly.
Just try. Just try your best. But again, you have control over your life, and you know why you do what you do.
Exactly. But yeah, just long story short, just think about who would benefit most from you not believing that those things are real. Think about it. Who would benefit most from you not believing that those things are real? It doesn't benefit you. I can tell you that. It doesn't benefit you. I'm just putting it out there. We'll leave that for when we really dive into that topic.
Very well. I think we went ham today. Like we went.
Oh, absolutely.
We went off on both ends. I really want to thank everyone who always takes the time to listen to us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Really want to thank everyone who takes the time to engage, to participate in the chat. For those who have participated in the past on our live, if there's anyone that wants to go ahead and join our live today, for whatever reason, whether it's to add on to the topic, to give thanks, to greet, to add on to the message, please feel free to send a request now before we disconnect. What we're doing here is major. It's a lot of stuff that we're discussing, a lot of stuff that we are tackling because there's a lot of the industry is failing to do so. There's a lot of organizations that are only tackling certain issues because it'll either boost their company or it'll help them in various ways, but they're not willing to tackle it all the way because they're going to ruffle feathers in short term. And this platform is all about not worrying about any of what's been mentioned because we're working hard on really building people, helping people grow, helping people heal, helping people break through and help them understand their situation so they can help the next person. Because if you don't heal, there's no way you're going to heal the next person. If you don't heal, there's no way you're going to raise your family properly. If you don't heal, there's no way you're going to move up in your family. There's no way you're going to move up in your career. If you do not heal, there's nothing that's going to grow in your path. You're always going to be stuck and stunned, believe it or not. Take it from someone that's been there because it's been quite a mission. I don't even feel like saying journey anymore. It's been a mission because I don't think people understand the struggle that we go through, man. And we have great intentions for other people, but I don't think you understand the struggle that we go through because we have to be here on a weekly basis every Thursday. It's not a burden to us. It's really not. This is easy.
Not at all.
It's easy because we are very transparent. It's really not a burden. But the fact that we're able to show up on a weekly basis, despite of what we're going through, truly means a lot. And you have to appreciate it more. We're not here measuring people's respect or appreciation. What I'm saying is, I am very sure that before you give attention to us, you're going to give attention to comedy or violence. Why do I say this? Because like I said before, Big Bro, when I started the cleansing, the detox, when we started today's episode, I had to bring up the fact that I put up my spontaneous, my drastic, most recent post, and it gets more views than a positive post. How is that even possible? How is that even possible? But we know this already, though. But we know this.
But you know what?
What I'm saying is that I am putting it on my page. I'm not talking about Santiago Matias. I'm not talking about Alofoque. I'm not talking about the Riverboat Brawl. I'm not talking about the suicides, the homicides. I'm not talking about the struggle. I'm not talking about Donald Trump and what's happening with the campaign. I'm not talking about these things. I'm talking about that when people are viewing others struggling, the views tend to be higher. But when you're doing good,
how it is.
The numbers are low because now it's like, I'm not going to thank this person for the positivity that they're putting out into this world. I want to go ahead and reach out to make sure that I can say, what can I do for you now that you know that you should? Who's saying that I'm struggling? Who's saying that? Who's saying that I'm depressed?
What they don't know,
Man, listen, I'm not afraid of nothing. of nothing.
When God blows things up, because he's about to start blowing up, he's about to start glorifying himself all over the place.
It's crazy.
There are miraculous turnarounds that are going to start happening in people's lives. And there's a hunger for that right now. Just wait. All I got to say is just wait.
And I just want to tell people, don't give me the authority. Just accept it. Don't give it to me. Don't give it up to me. Don't do this. It's like, damn, this guy is being so real. Pastor Carlos is being so real. His crew is being so real. His church is being so real. Just accept it. Like, you don't know what church to go to? Refiners Church. At Refiners_church. Search for it. I'm gonna go ahead and put it in the chat. Go ahead and follow, because the thing is, if you don't know where to go, if you don't know who's leading, it's the right people doing the right things for the right reason. If nobody
the only thing
for donations,
the only thing we're looking for, only one thing we're looking for. Let's see your life be transformed. Because if we got your living testimony, we don't even get the credit for that. Christ gets the credit for that. Let that happen. Just watch. We just want his glory to show out. That's all it's about. It's all it is. It's all it is, bro.
Yeah, and what I really want is, like, follow your intuition. You know what I'm saying? Follow what it is that you're feeling inside when it comes to a person, place, or thing. Follow it. You know what I'm saying? Like, understand it. Like, don't disregard it, because we've already done that so many times in our past, and it's been so hard to accept, like, man, if I would have followed what I felt, which is the Holy Spirit, it's like I could have avoided so many things. But so many of us have learned this the hard way. Even myself. Myself. There's a lot of things that I was like, my gut feeling. I always labeled it as my gut feeling, but it's like the Holy Spirit was always with me, and I always went against it. I always went against it. Real. I'm being real when I'm telling you right now. I always went against it. And let me tell you right now, I'm so grateful for where I've been to where I am today, and to where I'm gonna be eventually. The family that I have, all the way from mother, father, grandmother, to rest in peace, grandfather. You have to be grateful even for those who you haven't even met. All the way through brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, cousins. You have to be grateful for everyone, because you know what? At the end of the day, everybody's been trying to teach you something, and you've disregarded it, or you've paid attention to it. Be grateful for your elders, and when I say elders, it's not 65 and over. Your elders is whatever number you are, your age, whoever's older than you, even by a month. Because and you know what? Be grateful for those who are even younger than you, because there's a lot of people out there who have gone through way more than you have, and are younger than you. And you have to be grateful for how spoiled you were. And I can tell you, because off of testimony, I can say, like, I've been spoiled, and the people that I've been around and that I've been connected with and that I grew up with have gone through so much more, that I was like, man, I should be grateful for what I had. A PS2, those $20 a day, that conversation, it's not always material and money. That conversation that I was able to have with my father numerous times, that this person who grew up in the street and did not have their father, you are not better than no one. And if you feel like you are better than someone, life is going to teach you otherwise.
You're going to be humble.
You're going to be humbled at some point in your life. Because if you feel like if like the world is yours, best believe you are setting yourself up for destruction. Because if you're feeling like the world is yours and not grateful for what the world has provided you with, God has provided you with, that parent or those parents or that allowance or those opportunities, best believe that whenever they're not present, you're going to learn what it is not to have them around.
Yep.
Straight up. And I'm fortunate.
Facts.
I'm fortunate to be able to wake up and know these things with my parents alive. There's other people right now regretting that because they're no longer alive and they realize, wow, they were the provider aside from God.
Yep.
Understand that. If you have both your parents, or if you only had one out of your two parents, but both are alive, forget it. Make that connection as hard as it is and forget it because you don't know that person's struggle. And when I say that person, that's your father, that's your uncle, that's your brother, that's your sister, that's your cousin, whoever it is, forgive because you don't know when you're going to have that second chance. You don't know when you're going to have that option to sit down. And I got a lot of work to do myself.
We all
got a lot
do,
of
man.
work.
We all do.
I got a lot
It's
of
no,
work to
it's
do.
no judgment. It's recognizing the changes you need to make and stepping forward in that.
I got a lot of work to do.
It's always going to be an ongoing process.
But I've been planting
That's
seeds,
part of the
though.
transformation in Christ.
We've all been planting seeds. And as long as you're planting those seeds, it don't matter how much you've ever messed up in your, I was about to curse. No matter how much you've messed up in your life, it's never too late to plant seeds. And no matter how much someone has messed up in your life, yeah, the ball's in your court. It is in your court. But accept that person because that could have been you too. That could have been you too. I got work to do. I'm on a mission right now. This detox that I've been doing, the cleanse and the detox, there's a lot of work that I got to do because I'm not perfect either. And you know what? Because I'm not perfect, the people who went against me a few years ago are not perfect either. So it's time for me to heal this moment, to heal the situation, and open up these doors so that I can say, you know what? No matter what happened in the past, leave it in the past, and let's heal and let's grow together. Because at the end of the day, we are still here, we are still breathing the same air, we bleed the same blood, and at the end of the day, I don't want nothing to happen to you, and I hope you don't want nothing to happen to me as well. Because you know what? At the end of the day, we are here for each other, and we all we got, believe it or not. Even those people that hate each other, yeah, we hear about the evilness that takes place in the world. We hear about it. But there's solutions for it.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't want to go through with the solution. They rather just disregard it and be like, you know what? The easy route is be like, forget them. I was about to curse. Forget them. And that's not the way to do it. The way is to remember them. The way is to heal them. The way is to have that conversation with them because it's up to them to accept the apology. It's up to them to be forgiven. It's up to them to grow as one group, no matter what has happened.
Yep.
No matter what has happened. It's the thing that we least expect. But best believe we all need it. We all deserve peace because we've all messed up. I've messed up in my life. I've hurt people myself. I've hurt them myself. Yeah, I've been hurt, but I can't use it because they've hurt me. It's the reason why I've hurt others. No excuse. I understood that they were wrong and I was wrong. It's not an excuse for me to hurt other people. But I wish I can reach those people and be like, you know what, I'm sorry. And I wish for them to accept my apology, but it's up to them to accept it. I have no control over their acceptance. I don't have control over that. What I do have control is that I've been to society weak enough to apologize to others. And for those who haven't received it, the time will come. For those who have received it, your time came. It's up to you to accept it. And
Amen.
you know what? The day that I'm no longer here, which is why I'm so grateful for to death. And you know that. I don't even want to tell you that. But I'm gonna tell you something right now. With everything that we're doing, I'm gonna tell you something right now. With everything that we're doing, the day that someone speaks negative of me, those who are curious to know who I am, those who are curious to know who my big bro is, Pastor Carlos, Refiners Church, take the time to watch episode 1 through 85 so you can see the transition. And at the end of the day, you be the judge. God is the only judge. But if you want to go ahead and take the baton or whatever you want to call it, you be the judge from beginning to end and be like, damn, this person deserves to be alive today. This person deserves to run most of what our community needs. Because at the end of the day, I'm gonna tell you something right now. Nobody in this life is perfect. And whoever wants to go ahead, because Big Bro, what we're gonna do is gonna be so big that there's gonna be people that's gonna try and come in and destroy the structure, the infrastructure. That's gonna try and destroy from within and be like, oh, but this person did this. This person has said this. Yeah, guess what? You have this testimony because of the content that we put up, because of what we put out, because of what we've uploaded. But guess what? You are not perfect, but there's a difference between us two. You do not upload transparency on your platform, and we do. So I'll go ahead and take the challenge. Put your life out, and I put mine's, and we'll see who's perfect.
Nobody is. Only God. That's
We'll
it.
see who it is. And I'm willing to go one on one with anyone on the live. One on one with anyone on the live. Like I'm putting it up right now. I'm willing to go one on one with anyone on the live. And I want anyone who can say anything negative of me to put that request in on the live. Or you know what? Let's schedule it through let's schedule the live through DM. So you can try and destroy me. And I'm gonna make sure I'm not gonna be the one destroying you. God will. Because no weapon formed against me shall prosper.
Shall prosper.
And not even formed against you, because I'm not forming the weapon against you. If you're willing to take on this challenge, it's because your weapons are the ones that are willing to take down this person, this individual, el Hijo de Dios.
Amen. I can tell you, little bro.
So I'm willing to take the
I'm
challenge.
seeing the Lord. I'm seeing the Lord moving in transformation. I see the direction in which He's sending you, and I'll just tell you,
I need
the
it. I want the people. I want people to
the
send it.
majority of
Send
the
it.
time they don't want the smoke, bro. The majority of the time they don't want the smoke.
Anybody who I've hurt in the past, please join a live, because I'm ready for you. But I hope you're ready for what's coming as well, because it's not about retaliation for me or for you as well, but you're looking at it as retaliation. What I want you to do is go ahead and join the live and put me on, because I'm not going to be ashamed of anything. Because we're being transparent, because people want to test our platform, then go right ahead. And you know what, big bro? There's going to be times where if it's best for you not to be on, don't be on. Let me handle it, because I'm ready for whoever's coming. I'm ready for whoever's coming. If you're Christian, que sea evangélico, que sea atheist, whoever you are, come through, because I'm ready for you. Because if you are part of a religion, you're going to understand what I'm trying to say, and you're not going to want the smoke. You're going to want the merge. You're going to want the collaboration. There's a difference between what I'm asking you. if you want to go ahead and try to destroy our platform or my image, man, I'm ready for any day. Don't even choose a Thursday. I'm ready. I'm ready Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday for you. Don't even choose a Thursday because Thursday is positivity for everybody. But I've done had it, and I'm ready for whoever wants to come my way because I'm not alone in this. I'm not alone. I'm not. And at the end of the day, I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect at all. So many people trying to. I've heard. I've seen what has happened with people, and it's like I've committed the mistake where somebody has told me something about somebody, and I believe it because this person has been so good to me. But I've learned to understand other people's lives because you know what? You've been good to me, but that doesn't mean that you've been good to other people in your past. So
Yep.
you're not being open about your story. You're being real with me, but you haven't been real with people in your past. You're being real with me, but you're not being real with people in your current or your future. Because of what you've been through in your past, you're willing to harm other people in your future. And that's not me. I've been hurt in my past, but I'm willing to heal others in their future. Bro,
Yep. And
I
and
think we got to save this for
something you
another
just
day, man.
said, yeah, we definitely will. But I just want to before we
I feel
go,
like we're going
I
to be
want to
cut off.
share.
We're going to be
Yeah.
in about 3 to 5 minutes. We're going to be time.
Yep.
Trust me.
I'm gonna go ahead and share something with y'all real quick, and then we can head out after that. Something I posted on one of my stories recently, but it was spiritual sabotage. You better stop listening to people about other people and ask God about them. The insecure, the religious, the jealous, and the hurt will always paint people they don't like in a negative light. Just because they said it doesn't mean it's true. The Bible says God will judge every idle word that comes out of our mouths. Stop regurgitating gossip and slander because there are consequences in the spirit for being wrong. Some of you are allowing other people's opinions of other people to block you from kingdom relationships that will benefit your destiny. The devil will send people to you with words to kill someone's character that you should be connected in the kingdom with. Just take that, meditate on it, because we've seen a lot of separation that the Lord's doing, and the enemy trying to also attack to try and stop people from walking where they should walk. I'll leave it with that, little bro. It's been a blessing to be on with you guys tonight. It's been a blessing, I would say, to see little bro's transformation. He's continuing to move on, on the up and up. And it's been a blessing to see the transformation of a lot of y'all that have shared your stories, the testimonies, and everything. Some of y'all have hopped on the live, some of y'all haven't, but it truly has been a blessing. And I can see the road that the Lord's taking us for much more. I can't wait to rock that road, see what the Lord's going to do there, because it really is a blessing.
For sure, man. Glory to God for everything that's been happening. Appreciate everyone who's been watching us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. Again, you can be doing so many other things, but the fact that you take the time to sit, listen, and not only that, but receive and pass on the message to someone else.
Yep.
You don't even have to give credit to us. Glory to God, once again. And just spread the message on your platform. That's all that matters. Don't quote me or quote Pastor Carlos on anything. As long as you're receiving and passing it on to the next person,
Facts.
that's already glory. That's major. So,
Yep.
we're not asking for credit. We're not asking for so many. We're not selling you a course. We're not doing these things. We're having these conversations because it's what's going to keep you going. I mean, if you really think about it, our platform should be actually on a Wednesday, right? Because to get you over the hump. But once you get over the hump, that Thursday is motivation to keep going throughout the rest of the week. And it's crazy how we all go through things. We all are capable of so much. We have so much potential. But when we have these conversations, we're opening up doors for new opportunities. We're
Amen.
we're opening up so much for ourselves in and out of the business space, personally, career wise, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, giving you that boost to continue to grow as a person, to continue to grow as an individual. Because what you do for yourself is the best thing that you can do for someone else. If
Amen.
and I mean, we are, man, there's so much going on in the world right now, and it's so easy when things are going great for you to do great things, for you to say great things, for you to think good things. But the test is when you're going through the most difficult season, how are you going to react to that? Because a lot of people don't want to see you doing better than them. There may be situations where you don't want to see others doing better than you, and it shouldn't be the case. You should be happy for every single person who's getting through these situations, getting through these cycles, getting through these obstacles. You have to be happy for everyone else the same way you should be happy for yourself. Because if not, you have envy in you, you have hate in you, you have grudge in you, you have anger in you, you have all the negativity in you if you don't see it this way, honestly. And no matter what someone else is thinking of you, don't respond back with the same energy. Don't respond back with the same words. Don't respond back with the same vibes, with the same. Do not do that. Let go and let God handle them. Another thing, the reason why I said this, we'll leave that for another episode. I don't want to bring it up now. There's a reason why. It's been so much, and it's crazy. Life will teach you who's who, whether it's family or friends. And usually those who are closer to you will do the most damage. So with that said, uh, love yourself and love others. Respect you and respect others. Encourage you and encourage others no matter what you're going through. Keep pushing. Keep doing what you're doing. A lot of people are not going to realize what you're doing in the moment, but the time will tell. Time will tell exactly what you're doing and why you're doing it. Um, and long term over short term, faith over fear. And to be honest, like I always say, patience is a virtue and faith is a substance in every single situation. Don't forget that we are on every Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 7:30 p.m. Central, and 5:30 p.m. Pacific Time, West Coast. Whenever we have any uh, lives that we won't be taking place in, we will keep you notified. Just know that on my profile, I do upload the live a week prior to our actual live. Um, when you click on that notification, you will be notified 2 days before, the day before, and the day of. Appreciate everyone who joins us. Really appreciate everyone who shares our live. You have the option on the bottom right corner with the paper plane to share it via DM, via text, via email. You have the option right before the paper plane with the bubble with the question mark. You'll be able to drop a question, a statement, and we'll give the best answer or advice to the best of our knowledge. Uh, you do have the option to join our live, to to add on to the topic. Please feel free to do so. Always welcome. Really appreciate everyone on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube for joining us. It really does mean a lot. This is episode 85. Soon enough, we'll have episode 86. Please make sure to follow up on us. I Wow, you know what, big bro? I put up Refiners Church, but I did not pin it, which I will do right now. Make sure to follow Refiners Church. A lot of major things happening every Sunday. Make sure to log on. uh, 12 Central. Is that correct?
11 o'clock Central,
11
12
o'clock Central.
Eastern, 9 a.m. West Coast.
West Coast. There you go. Make sure to follow Refiner Shirts. Make sure to follow at C Chan Latte. You can go ahead and find them on Refiners. Just go ahead and look at the followers or following, and you'll find the whole team in there. And it's been major what's been happening just overall. So go ahead and follow. Thank you all for watching. Big Bro, is there anything you want to say before we disconnect?
Nah, just thank all you guys for the support. We continue to go strong on everything. It's just been a blessing. Join us on Sunday. We believe it'll be a blessing for your life.
For sure. Don't forget, we are on every Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 7:30 p.m. Central, 5:30 p.m. Pacific Time, West Coast. We will see you all. Thank you all for joining us today. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Really appreciate y'all. And we'll see you next week. Love y'all. Hope you have a blessed and great week. And don't forget, patience is a virtue. Once again, patience is a virtue, and faith is the substance. Let's go.
God bless you.